Here we go. Thursday night. It's going to be a great show tonight. Very excited to have this amazing panel. Just a few minutes here. I want to say what's up to the chat. Guys, you've all been here with me for a while. Almost 100 people here before the show started talking little games. People are excited about the PS5 Pro. Listen, there's something I got to tell you guys. You guys have been listening to me for a long time. And the one thing I got to let you know is the show must go on, right? We say that all the time. That's been my motto. Short of holidays, extreme illness, or maybe, it could be a vacation. The show must go on. Tonight, the Mets. That's right, sports. The Mets face elimination tonight, folks. And they're playing right now in Milwaukee. And guess what? I'm here for you. The show has to go on. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But please, say a prayer for the Mets right now, if you don't mind, as they throw out the first pitch. Nonetheless, we have an outstanding show for you guys. Very excited to get into this. We got an outstanding panel. Look at that amazing dais right there. It's fantastic, fantastic. But if you take a second to look at that description right there, above it, you'll see two buttons. The like button, the subscribe button. You hit the subscribe button, your name comes up in lights. The thing about the like button I want to talk about is we tried a little test last week, and I'm going to keep mentioning it. I want to see if we can do this. All the Mooch Maniacs out there, you guys have been listening for years. We get an amazing amount of followers and listeners every week. Almost 7,000 views last week. Guys, hit that like button. Let's try and get to 1,000 likes. We went up to 400 last week, which I dig. I think that's great. I think it's great. But we got to get that number up. Let's get that number up there. Let's get CrossFire up there beaming on the YouTube lights. Nonetheless, I'll leave that up to you guys. You guys are in charge of that. I'll take care of the show. You guys take care of the likes. Okay, so if you're listening later on in the car, wherever you may be, hit that like button. I really, truly appreciate it. That being said, let's get to this amazing panel. You guys might not know him. You may not know who he is. We haven't seen him since the baseball season started. I think it was April. The Basement Radio Arcade Podcast is back. Brap, you're back on the show, buddy. I don't know how, but you're back.
You want to hear something funny, Mooch?
Please.
We didn't have practice today. We were supposed to have practice early in the week, but it's been raining here. It's been raining a lot, like a week. I feel like this shiny orange yellowish object appeared in the sky today. I don't know what it was, but it felt warm and embraced me.
Yes, it did.
And, I don't know. Probably at like 4:00, we get a message on Game Changer. I don't know if you use that app, Mooch.
I sure do.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, practice is 6:30." What? No, I'm not doing it tonight.
I'm not doing it.
I'm like, you know what? I honestly, I'm like, look, it's. I get it, but that's too last minute. I got CrossFire tonight.
Great to have you.
Unfortunately, I can only be here for an hour because I got other stuff to do with the kiddos and.
That's all right. Listen, an hour is better than 0 minutes. We'll take it, Brap. Great to have you here.
Hey, by the way, Mooch, I'm rooting for the Mets because my Orioles.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
sad.
My
God. So go Mets.
All right, let's go Mets. That'll be the theme tonight, folks, between gaming. Speaking of that, the great Crap Gamer is here. You guys know I had got him front row seats down in Milwaukee to check out the Mets game. I think he went there. He's in the green room. Crap. Great to have you back, buddy. Also, glad to hear you're safe and sound after the hurricane. I know that was
I didn't get anything major here, but it was because I have Starlink, right? It's like satellite stuff. So if you have winds and rain and overcast, you won't get any signal. So it was popping in and out, so it wouldn't have made for a good show or whatever, right, and so the power was kind of trippy here and there. So but other than that, it was actually a lot of the wind and stuff came overnight, and we lucked out. 2017, I think, was the really bad one, man. I was the one that came right up. It was like a Cat 5 went straight up to the middle of Florida and tore apart everything, man. I lived in my car for 8 days. Because there was no power or anything, and it was crazy. So thankful that didn't happen again.
No,
and everything kind of I'm a bear without my air conditioning, man.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, that's my one thing. I could do without the internet, a lot of things, but man, my air conditioning, don't mess with it. So it's I got to have the coldest of the cold. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. There's always stuff to talk about, so that's always a plus. When we do the show,
always there's
topics and things, and so yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
All right, Crap. Great to have you. Speaking of that, Eric, let me go ahead and say I hope you and the family are safe as well down there in Florida, Eric. I'm assuming if you're on the show, things are okay. All of us were saying our prayers. Florida's just it's a wonderful state to live in. You guys have probably the best heat year round. I mean, if you really like that hot, humid heat.
Yeah.
But the storms are just over the top. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every once and again, you got a shovel here in New York, but our roofs don't fly off, and it's like that's the one. It's like I'm always thinking. I'm like, I want to move to Florida. I really do. And then I talk to Eric. I talk to Crap. I talked to a few others I know, and I'm like, man, that is.
Well, listen, off and on 30 years I lived here, and realistically, I've only like the amount of hurricanes and stuff. Maybe I think 3 or maybe 4. But yeah, it hasn't been really bad. That was the one major one was 2017.
Yeah, that was bad.
Which was bad,
real bad.
Yeah, and that was bad. But other than that, man, it's not bad. And then we don't get any real cold weather here, which is good. I don't even own a jacket. People are surprised that I don't own a jacket. Hell no, man. First of all, I don't get cold, but the second thing is just like it'd be a waste for me because it just there's never a time to really wear one here. But you can always tell the Northerners when they come here, because they'll be wearing a jacket when it's like 50, and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So it's like they're just kind of looking at me. You can tell they're all bundled up and stuff. So yeah, it's like that's how I've always been though. I've always been I enjoy the cooler weather, but I don't like snow either, so it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those bittersweet things. Well, Eric, I see you're muted. I don't know if Eric's by his microphone, but I do want to say what's up to Eric. Eric, as soon as you can. There it is.
Sorry about that. I'm here. I was bringing the dog back in.
No, that's all right, Eric. Well, welcome to the show, but I hope everything's all right.
He wants to come into the office, like I have the door closed. He hits it like a damn velociraptor trying to get in the room, man. It's like he's only like 16 pounds, but you think of like full-grown gorillas trying to break through the door.
Well,
so I was letting him in, but no, we were fine down here, man.
All right,
South Florida, we pretty much just got tropical storm weather, but that's almost any day in South Florida.
That's right.
At any moment. So torrential downpour and like 4 or 5 inches of rain out of nowhere.
Yeah, we see that.
So, but overall,
we freak out. You call it Tuesday, so I understand that, Eric. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see the great Brian East in the chat. He says, "Mooch, to be fair, South Florida, the brunt of the hurricanes usually go past us." So, Brian, glad to hear you're safe as well over there. Eric, great to have you on the show. The great Death Singer is back again. Singer, let me tell you something, boy. Really developing a fan base here. When I say fan base, I mean CrossFire fan base, which is fantastic. They love the back and forth. Singer, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's just playing games. Some people could take a hint. You could be playing Game of the Generation, Baldur's Gate 3, or you could be playing I Am Male. And also, I just have to say, fuck Nintendo.
Wow.
For obvious reasons. It's been in the news. But you will never win, Nintendo. The people will always beat your ass.
I'll tell you something, Death Singer. You were born for CrossFire. You say things like that,
man. Nintendo seems like they do beat people. They sue people, man. They close down your YouTube channel. Like I would never ever put Nintendo on my YouTube.
No,
never.
Never.
Here's the thing. But here's the thing: they target them, but they take down. It's like the Hydra's head. You cut off one, 2 more grow back in its place. It's a fight you'll never win.
It's the thing, though. It's like Nintendo does great games. It's like it's what they do. They're very strict about that because they're old school. I kind of respect that in a way. Like I don't personally care about, and I would never want to emulate that stuff anyway. But it's like I get it why people don't like Nintendo, but it's like at the same time. It doesn't deter me. I buy their shit. I try not to, right? Like I've had Switches off and on this generation, and I just got like the OLED Switch this year, Mooch. Like that thing's great.
It's amazing. Screen's
you know what I mean? And it's like
beautiful.
So like I'm kind of late to the Switch party, but like they have great games and they're fun. Like that's something that I've been missing this generation. Like I tell people that like I'm kind of disappointed in this generation. For me personally, I don't like people can feel however they want, but for me, like every generation has had these big games, new games that I just love, and I haven't had that yet. Like I know some people have, and I haven't yet. So it's like so for me, it's like Nintendo is kind of that comfort thing now, where it's like I'm really starting to kind of come around to some of the stuff that they're doing, and it's just fun. and some of the stuff with like Xbox and PlayStation just not having as much fun. But still okay stuff. It's not bad.
Well, hey, crap! You said you're late to the game, but NBC based their whole late '90s, early 2000s on that. If you haven't seen it, it's new to you, so it's good. That's it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's outstanding.
Exactly.
Now to get through these intros, we got some amazing topics. You guys know I gave you guys 11 topics. We'll get through 3 of them. Listen, I got news for you. Maybe two. I just want you guys to know. I invited the great Mag is back on the show. Great to have Mag here. Mag, I'm actually going to go trade in my PS5 and my Xbox Series X for credit while you host the show. Mag, they say we sound the same. We'll find out what the audience says later tonight. But great to have you back, Mag. How you doing?
I'm excited to be here. We got some things to talk about tonight. And listen, if you want to take a break, go watch the Mets. Go watch the Mets. I'll pretend I'm you for about an hour.
Yes.
Then you're all good.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have some stuff to talk about tonight, folks. And let me tell you something about that hurricane. Where I'm from, we don't get hurricanes. We don't get tornadoes. We don't get earthquakes. We get nothing. So you know where I am? I'm standing in the airport in Tennessee, and I'm looking at all of the air, the updates for the airlines, and I see canceled. And I'm sitting there going, what's happening? And then the guy's like, oh, you don't want to know. He goes, you see that thing over there? And I'm like, yeah. I go, what the hell is that? And then he goes, well, that's Hurricane Helen. And I go, can we get the hell out of here, please? Anyway, we're flying. It's only a 2-hour flight from Nashville to Toronto, right? Anyways, the first hour and a half, you know when they say, if you're scared of flying, and I'm scared of flying, I don't like flying, but they say stare at the flight crew. And if the flight crew is relaxed and they're still serving coffee and they're doing whatever, then you're fine. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
They looked scared shitless.
Shit, that sucks.
And the plane was going up, down, left, right. It was like the Humpty Dance. The thing's going up and down and up and over here. And then even at the end of the flight, the lady says, she goes, well, that was uncomfortable, wasn't it? We were flying next to the hurricane, just trying to get away from it.
Wow.
And we were getting smoked up there. You couldn't see nothing. We were in the clouds, pitch black the entire time. And that plane, like I was almost in tears, man. So I don't know how you guys deal with that on the ground while you're riding canoes down the road so you can go buy a pack of, a 6-pack of beer. I don't understand any of it. I am totally okay where I am. So I love Florida. But my God, I only like to visit.
Yeah, let's just visit, Mag. That sounds like a good idea.
We'll just visit. Like New York, you're not going to get a hurricane in New York.
That's right.
What I mean?
That's right.
That's it. But
no earthquake. I should say no earthquakes. We do get, but they're like so low that it's like your coffee kind of just shakes slightly, and you're like, "Is that an earthquake?" They're like, "Yeah," and then the news moves on. I'm with you on that, Mag. We'll just visit the guys down south. Speaking of that, the great D Bax, who's also up north. He's another northerner like we are as well. D, great to have you back on the show, buddy. And listen, a lot of people are saying, there wasn't a ton of news this week, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of things that have been going on. You've been absolutely on fire on Twitter recently. I don't know if you guys are not following D Batch right now on Twitter. You're missing out. D, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. So much stuff to talk about. Like, I haven't been this excited about gaming in a long time. Like, not only do we have like new hardware coming out with the PlayStation 5 Pro, but we have a slew of games that have just been fantastic this year. We got more games on the way. Like, it's just a great time to be a gamer. It's a great time to talk gaming, and I'm just hyped for the PlayStation 5 Pro. I know we're gonna get into it a little bit later on, but I'll just say this: for all those people that are hating on it or don't like the price of it, I've been following consoles for a long time, man. I've been there from the start. And, I'll give Sony credit where it's due. They push this industry forward. There'd be no Xbox. There'd be a lot of companies and, franchise that wouldn't exist without the PlayStation. And I believe that the PlayStation 5 Pro is really going to push forward, the next generation, the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Series X to be exemplary hardware. And this is how you do it, man. You have new tech that's not even available on PC. That's how you go out and, start a new generation and, get an enthusiast market, excited. It's selling. People are saying it's not selling. It's selling. Like, this is, we're in the pre-order stage. And a lot of people don't realize that when you pre-order a console, it's allocated units. So, they have a certain amount that's already stockpiled. And then they also know how many they can make by a certain time when they can ship it. They're figuring out how many they're going to give to Best Buy, how many they're going to give to Target, to Amazon. They're figuring out all that stuff. So it's going to be open for quite some time so they can see how much interest is for this console and how many of them they need to make. So, I'm looking at numbers. So I'm seeing thousands of these units selling all over the place from different retailers. I'm seeing them, mark it out of stock for like an hour and then putting it back in stock, or marking it out of stock for a couple of days and then they get a new shipment or reallocation of units. So I'm excited, man. I'm just really excited for the Pro, man. I don't care what anybody says. Go argue with your mama. I'll say this and then I'll be done with it. People are mad and they're salty because most people on PC, they game on a 3060, they game on a 3060 Ti, they game on a 1650. And I don't care if the rigs that they have a better CPU when their GPU is so weak. The PlayStation 5 Pro is going to beat a majority of PC rigs. I'm not saying it's going to be around $700 going up, $700 in the future. I think this is going to be pretty much the price point that we're going to be looking at for consoles. And if you want 60 FPS, if you want ray tracing, you want all these things that you complain that you don't have now in the current consoles, that's what has to be done.
No, I hear you. So just so everybody knows, YouTube is acting up, guys. I don't know what's going on. So I know you guys are saying it's stuttering.
At one point it was 300 people watching, and then it keeps dropping because YouTube keeps freezing up. Like I'm watching it on my my screen. YouTube. I checked my feed too. Like I have good connection right now, but it just keeps locking up. So
I was like, oh no, I'm talking PS Pro. They're dropping off.
No, it wasn't that at all. So it says, I think the lag is fixed now, guys. Just hang in there. The show is going to continue to go on unless YouTube like cuts it for some reason because of some errors they're having on their side. Everything on my side seems fine. I am seeing on my live stream though, in YouTube Studio, it's saying that YouTube is struggling right now. So I don't know if it doesn't seem to be a me problem. Everything at my house is fine. Everything's running fine. Every other program is running fine. So just hang in there, guys. Hopefully YouTube gets their act together. Let's get that audience back. Let everybody know that we are still alive.
I have just like a okay, now it came back. It's just spinning for a second.
Yeah, it was spinning for me as well while we were in the middle of your
doing
intro.
That a few times, man.
Yeah, it was bad. So listen, listen, we're gonna keep doing the show anyways. Let's keep going here. I'm gonna go with the great D back. She was already on a roll, but D, before we get into the PS5 Pro, which is on the topic list, D, I want to talk a little bit about Starfield. And the thing about Starfield that really kind of gets me here is a lot of people in the chat. I have a lot of Xbox guys that'll pop in here and they go, "Mooch, you gonna talk about Concord?" Well, first of all, we talked about Concord for 2 or 3 episodes in a row. Pretty much, I was going to say the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it was a lot of bad, a lot of ugly. This case here, when it comes to Starfield,
stream died completely, Mooch.
Yeah, it's going in and out for me. It's not.
Yeah, it won't even load for me right now.
It's live for me. It's still live for me.
It's going in and out for me. It's literally going in and out. I don't know what it could possibly be. Is it worth starting? I mean, do you start it over again?
I don't know. Like if we this has happened. I remember this happening before a long time ago. And then when you watch the playback, it was fine.
Yeah. So you probably just keep going.
I'm gonna keep going. I know the numbers may not show, but it's all right. It is what it is. I mean, we'll still do a good show. Don't get me wrong. If for some reason I see that the stream completely stops, that's a completely different.
This also could be due to the hurricane that's going on because you don't know what servers are there.
Yeah, we don't know where that server is coming from. Right, exactly.
It's back up now though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have anything tremendously, impactful going on at the house. It's just, it's going in and out. It's going in and out.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do the show and we'll see how it goes.
You were saying about the Starfield thing, right? First, I want to say this. Why every time, Xbox does something wrong or Sony does something wrong, we always got to bring up the other side. It's got to be current events. The current event Concord was like 3 weeks ago. Okay, we know that game died a horrible death. They wasted a lot of money on it. It is what it is. Starfield is a separate issue, so don't conflate the two. Like it's a separate issue.
It really is.
The Starfield DLC, by all accounts of people that have played it, it doesn't really add anything, and it's quite short. And this seems to be the consensus, right? And this is from people that enjoyed it or rated the initial game a little bit higher. They're just not liking the DLC. Now, I like Starfield. I don't think Starfield's a bad game by any means. It's just I don't find it very captivating for me. It doesn't really hold my attention as well. To be honest, it's just the mechanics of it. And to be fair, I'm not really into Bethesda games, so there's that as well. but by all accounts, they're not enjoying it. So I don't know if gamers say they don't enjoy it. Why do you need to cope? In order to make things better and for their next DLC, because they're going to have year 2 DLC, you got to voice what you don't like about the game. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, it's great, it's great, it's great," when there's like 5 people that like it and there's like 100 people that hate it.
Right. I do like your point on that. I think the one thing that is, and a good point, D, it's about keeping with current events, right? And keeping with the news of the week. We talked about Concord when that was out and, the trials, tribulations they went through. The one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit about the whole Starfield situation is that this was supposed to be a huge game this generation that was really supposed to kind of catalyst and drive the Xbox, not only the Xbox consoles for sales, but bring up Game Pass. And I don't think that Game Pass is growing in the way that Microsoft originally thought. The thing with the game, and crap, I know you played a lot of Starfield. I've got like 200 hours into it.
God bless you.
I like it. The main problem that I have is just, and listen, I have the DLC, like it was free, with the version that I got, so it was like, cause I had the CE. So,
right.
Yeah, but I haven't bothered, I think, to download it or anything, mainly because it's difficult to go back to a game after, almost a year and just be like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like, for me anyway, it's like, you feel weird. Hey, you have to go back and figure out, relearn the game and the mechanics and all that stuff. So that part is weird. Plus, I saw a lot of the reviews and people weren't very high on it. I mean, it's something that I'll probably get around to at some point.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it, it probably would be worth it. But I think to your point, Starfield, they needed to have hits after Starfield, right?
Yeah.
They need hit after hit
after hit. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. They needed that. They needed hits more than just one. It was like Starfield and then a Forza game that wasn't very good, and then what, right? You had to wait 8 months to play Hellblade 2, which also wasn't great. Like, it's not amazing. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not going to do it. And I always say this, it's like, because people go, well, awards don't really matter or whatever. I get that argument, but you need to get into people's heads, and an award like Game of the Year or something would definitely do that, in my opinion. So get a couple Game of the Years in there, release on schedule, because we've been hearing about this schedule that they're going to release 4 big bangers every year, 1 every quarter. We've been hearing that for 5-6 years now, and they've yet to do it. It's like, oh, let's push off Avowed because it's going to be a packed, November or whatever, and then games started getting delayed into when they want to release Avowed. So, I don't care about Flight Simulator. That's you know what I mean? Like, I want to play the legit games, right? Like the Avoweds, the Indiana Jones, the Fables. Like, that's the stuff I think most people care about.
Let me ask you a question though, because you say that's the one thing, and I know Singer will kind of chime in a minute here because he's a big Avowed fan that he's looking forward to it. But if we were led to believe from 2020, okay, till what was it, 2022? When was it November 22? I believe when Starfield came out, or was it 23? I don't remember. 23.
23.
It was supposed to be 22, and if that game didn't do it, and you
should have been 24.
Yeah, probably. Probably should have released when the DLC just did. But what do you think, though? I mean, crap, I have a lack of confidence in the quality that's going to come from...
24 hours, right? Like, I don't do... and that's, again, Mooch, I'm not a big side quest guy. I mean, I did some, right? But I didn't do as many as some people did, but I just happened to go through the thing, and then you got, if you guys know, you beat the game, and then you're in a different... like, that's the crux of the whole game, right? You pass through the thing, and then you got to redo it in one of the other universes, and then you do it again and again and again, and you can get different things each time or whatever. But so that's kind of the fun part of the game. But it's like you got to get through all the rest of it, and there's some genuinely good stuff in there. Like, there was like, some of you guys might have played that level. It's like the time shifting level or whatever. That was, reminded me a little bit of the Titanfall 2 level where you're kind of time shifting or whatever. That was fun. There was some fun stuff in there. But I feel like that game probably could have used a little bit longer in the cooker. Maybe if it released this year with all the quality of life changes. And look, they were like, And we can't do more than 30 frames right now. And then and then they do. And then right, even on the Series S.
Yeah, we can't do it.
So it's like
until later.
It's like they rush the stuff out to try to get it out, and it's just so it's a good game, but it's not that game that's going to make people go, damn, I got to get that Xbox. You know what I mean? You've got to have their version of The Last of Us or God of War 3 or 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Right. And then people might start, and that's the only place you can get it, in console, right? There cannot be any kind of, well, maybe it'll come. No, be clear about it. And then once you eventually, because a lot of people own both, like me.
Yeah.
Right. I get the PlayStation for PlayStation stuff, Xbox for Xbox stuff. Right.
That's right.
Like a lot of people do that. So, it's just one of those things where they have to be clear with that and have great games. And the one thing that pisses me off so bad about Phil Spencer is, he's so does that have for your fan? I don't care. Like in the chat, I get like people be like, "You suck," whatever. It's like, listen, if you worked at a job and your job was like, "Hey, we're garbage and we can't win," and blah blah blah, how would you feel, right? Like you wouldn't feel great. So yeah, that's basically, you got this guy leading Xbox and he's like, "Yeah, we can't win," but he's making his $10 million a year, right?
Yeah. I'll say this from their I don't think he should ever have made that comment. First of all, this was
I agree. Yeah,
to say, but
well,
I
there's
will
a lot
say
of comments
this.
Phil should have never made, but
that's right.
There's a whole Wikipedia of Phil Spencer comments that he probably should have never made.
Yeah, I'll say this though. I don't know. Just lately, I've just been reminiscing and just like how many years I've been like playing video games, and when I look at it from Xbox's standpoint. These guys have been trying to battle Sony for 25 years, and each time they keep getting their ass kicked. The original Xbox came out, pretty good hardware, doesn't matter. They got their ass kicked. The Xbox 360 came out, they did pretty good. Then they had the Red Ring of Death, and then in the end, they got their ass kicked because Sony.
Well, this is what I'll say about the 360 though, right? So particularly in North America, they outsold the PS3 by 25 million units here. So like that's a huge win. Like I mean, there's never been an official. I know people go, oh, whatever. Like people said, yeah, the PS3 ended up winning by a few million. There's been never anything official, and if you look into it, the Xbox 360 won 38 straight NPDs. Right, and that's when NPDs really, really mattered. So I think the 360 was amazing. It was like pop culture. Everybody was.
It was. The 360 was their last time that they actually felt that they understood the culture of gamers.
And they got close. And then they got crushed. Then they got crushed with the Xbox One. And now they're getting obliterated once again with the Xbox Series X and S. So
how do they sell less? How do they sell less Xboxes now than the Xbox that like try to take people's rights and all that stuff, right?
Can you imagine?
Like like how do you not sell more than that console, right? Like everybody hated that Xbox One. They literally hated it. It was like it was like the Hitler of the internet at the time, right? Like everybody hated that damn thing. Just like it was bad. And it ended up doing, I guess they said something like 58 million, 59 million or something. And I don't think Series X and S will ever even get close to that. It's because, and believe it or not, you look at some games like that Jedi game that got downported to the Xbox One. That charted on Xbox One.
Let me kind of answer your question though. I think, and a lot of people give PlayStation, crap for this. Okay, they'll say, well, PlayStation's first party hasn't really delivered. What I keep saying is, yes, for all of us listening and people doing podcasts and people that listen to gaming shows, like the great audience that's here and listening later. You guys know the difference between first party, third party. People that go and put $500 out of pocket on a PS5, they don't care that Square Enix makes Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but it's only on PlayStation. They go out and buy the console where the games are. Yes, that's first party and third party exclusives. And that's what really it comes down to. So when you look at this generation and you say, what has it the Xbox has had only to itself? Why do I need to spend $500 on an Xbox? The Xbox One, to answer your guys' question, the reason they're doing worse than that generation was you had games out there. They had Dead Rising 3. They got Rise, right? They had Titanfall. They went and got Rise of the Tomb Raider for
Sunset
a year.
Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive. They had Forza 5. They had a bunch of different things come out. Halo 5. Like, things came out, and they came out steadily, at least for the first 3 years. Okay? The last, 3 or 4 was pretty good. Then it tapered
Rise
off.
of the Tomb Raider was timed exclusive. They had the first,
people
they did
don't
the
care.
remake.
A lot of people argue online right now, and they're like, you can't count, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You can't count this. You can't count that. But even Death Singer's beloved Baldur's Gate 3, and that was because of complications with, the tech on the S. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, somebody goes, boy, I'm glad I bought a PS5 because Baldur's Gate 3, there it is day one. So when people say, how did this generation end up like that? It's Wukong as well. At the
Silent
end
Hill
of the day,
2, that's a year exclusive.
Yeah, it's a year exclusive. Death Stranding 2 coming out. Making those deals with Kojima Productions for Death Stranding 1, even on PS4. But these are the things, when people go out and buy a console, they don't care. They care that the game is only playable on said console. And that's the point. So that, at the end of the day, is the reason. This generation, there hasn't been really anything outside of what? Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon 5, Starfield, Redfall, and you can name another couple, but there's nothing out there that's really groundbreaking.
The problem is that Halo Infinite and this was a problem for PlayStation as well a little bit, and Forza Horizon 5 are cross-gen. So, they were not really anything.
That's true, too. Yeah.
That was amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's like they haven't given a lot of people, and that's why so many still play Xbox One. If you ever see Phil Spencer be schmarmy, he'll be like, we've got more people on Xbox consoles right now than we ever have, which is probably accurate because, say they have 24 million Xbox Series X and S is sold. They probably still got 30 million people playing on Xbox One. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot, a lot of people these days will play the Fortnites, the Minecrafts, the Roblox, the Apex. All that stuff is still updated and playable. Even Call of Duty, Madden, all that stuff playable on Xbox One still, right? That's a console that came out over a decade ago. So people don't really feel the need to upgrade. And Microsoft hasn't given anybody a real reason to it. It ain't going to be Flight Simulator. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't going to be Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, no, I do. Mag, I know you were kind of chiming in on this. There's a few things that kind of, and we don't have to just talk about Starfield. I know that the Shattered Space DLC didn't do that well. It actually rated fairly low. I think it's sitting at a 58 right now. And you guys know, I don't care. If you said I love a game and it scored badly on Metacritic, I'm not going to hold that against you. That's fine. It's a talking piece. But here's the other thing, Mag. Microsoft wants to know why devs choose PS5 over Xbox. Well, Mag, why? Yeah. Mag, tell me.
That's the funniest shit.
Yeah, I saw that article. That was comical. The thing is, once again, is that you're losing an audience, and you're losing, and the more important thing is that you're losing influencers as well. A lot of the Xbox people, a lot of the Xbox podcasters, community, whatever, influencers, and all this stuff, have finally taken that red pill, and they're moving away, and all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. And they're seeing what's going on, and then you start looking across the pond, and you're like, well, look at what they're doing. And that's where you're getting it. Like, for example, this generation, I've already told everybody here on this very show, is that I have moved away pretty much from Xbox. I still have it, but I don't turn it on at all. I canceled Game Pass. I don't play it. And I got all my fulfillment and enjoyment the last 4 years on my PlayStation 5. I think it's a superior console in every way for me.
Yeah.
And what's happening is that, it is important, and this is the thing that a lot of people, struggle to understand. It is incredibly important that Xbox does have some kind of a voice out there in the community. And the reason why is that obviously competition breeds excellence. Look at the PlayStation 4. The reason why the PlayStation 4 was so great is because the 360 was great. Right. And then because now Sony looks at it and goes, God damn it, we got to step it up. And then, get those first party studios, get them cranking out these big Hollywood style games, this and that, whatever. Right. And then, of course, they change the trajectory of pop culture in video game. In video game history with that PlayStation 4 generation. And why did that happen? It happened because of the 360. And if you've got no competition left, obviously they're going to be still fighting and battling. And even next generation, obviously, it's not like PS6 is going to step off the gas. That's lunacy, right? But it is important that they have some kind of a presence out there that is a little bit of a threat. Because if you're not a threat, then there is no reason. Like, look at, for example, people talking about this year. Oh, there's no PlayStation first party this year. It's all bare bones, this and that. I'm like, just like you said, Mooch, it's a lot of third party this year because they're giving the developers more time to work with the PS5 Pro. That was the whole reason why a lot of the first party titles that were going to be coming up in the next year or two, and of course the second half of this generation, are delayed. They're delayed because they were waiting for the PS5 Pro. I know as a fact that is one of the reasons. You could probably ask Detective Seeds; he'll tell you the same thing. Is that they did that. So therefore, what do you do in the meantime? You get those third-party deals in place and everything else. And what do? You continue to dominate the living shit out of the industry. Now, well, until the Switch comes out, and who knows what's going to happen there. Xbox's biggest problem, and yesterday was a glaring reason once again as to why they are a problem. They are a problem because they cannot release anything above the stature of mediocrity. And that is a huge problem, and it's been going on this entire generation. You look at all these games that have been going out right up until... I'm not going to go through the history again, because we already did this. Remember that? The 2022, nothing. 2021, they had 2 good games. What the hell was it called? Psychonauts 2 and Flight Simulator, which is not really a game to me, but either way... 2022, absolutely nothing. You lost all your steam. 2023, you had that... the hell's that game, guys? The one with the one that they canceled. The rhythm game. Help me out here.
Oh, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, yeah. So you had Hi-Fi Rush. You had Redfall, complete failure. You had Forza Motorsport, failure. You had Starfield, in my opinion, a mediocre experience, if not below. I played it. I gave it the old college try. I gave it a 4 out of 10. When I went back to it to play it again, because I was talking to Colt Eastwood about it, and he says, dude, just give it another shot. I gave it another shot. Guess what? I gave it a 3 out of 10.
He went down. He went down.
Okay, because it was even worse the second time. I said, man, now I remember why I don't do it. It's like why I don't drink Guinness. I drink Guinness once every year to remind myself why I hate that shit. Anyways, hey, man, it's just the thing, right? So here's the thing. Now look at this situation. You got... One game is never going to cut it. You need... Crap said it. Crap said it at the beginning of the show here. You need the momentum to change a narrative, and you don't have that. So what's happened? Like, for example, you had your opportunity right now. You released the game. You released Starfield last year, a year late, by the way, because remember, it was supposed to be 2022. So they released it a year late. Still not up to quality. Then you have, what's it called? Hellblade 2. Okay, it's not bad quality, but it didn't hit. Okay, it didn't hit. No. By the next day, the screenshots we saw on Twitter were gone. Remember that? The screenshots you see are like looking at the sky or whatever. And then all of a sudden, by the next day, it was gone. And then, therefore, didn't move the needle. Then all of a sudden, you move it. They take an entire effing year to release this DLC. And you release this DLC to what? People scoring at 5s and 6s. And now you are back to not square one. You are back beyond square one. Yeah. It is the 2 steps, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Now let's say Indiana Jones hits. Okay.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones hits. Let's just say.
Okay.
Doesn't mean anything. It means nothing.
No.
Because Avowed has to hit, which I don't think it will. I'm not saying it's the quality. I just don't think it's going to hit.
I just don't think it's going to hit.
South of Midnight, I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
South of Midnight, I think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good, but it's going to be...
I actually know it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be very good, but I think it's going to be another one of those Hi-Fi Rush where it's like, it's big in the, hardcore gaming community. I don't know if South of Midnight's going to like blow up. You know what I mean, D? What do you think?
I just want to ask you real quick.
Sure, buddy.
I'm looking at Indiana Jones, and I think it's going to be good, but I don't know why I just have this feeling that it's going to be mid. And if it's mid, like, how big of a blow do you think that is?
That's a huge blow. And the reason why it's a huge blow is because, once again, now you're pushing to the next game, and the next game, and it keeps happening. It's happened this entire generation for them, and therefore what's happening is they're like, okay, well, that didn't hit. Well, let's hope Avowed hits. And all of a sudden, let's say Avowed doesn't hit. Oh, well, let's hope, fill in the blank, hits. South of Midnight hits. Oh, well, it's a great game, but not enough people played it.
Right, that's what I mean.
Let's hope that Fable hits. It's been going on.
That's what they've been doing all generation and pretty much a decade. Yeah, going all the way back to like 2016. Basically.
That's why people are giving up. I told you the story a million times. I'll tell you again for anybody in the chat who never heard it. When I was sitting downstairs, I was gaming in my basement, and I hear my wife fumbling around with wires and shit upstairs. And she comes down and she grabs a Series X box, the empty ones. We always keep our boxes, people. Okay, so she goes and gets the box. I go, what the hell is she doing? I go upstairs. And she's in the living room, and she's got the Series X and the cords inside the box. I go, what are you doing? She goes, I'm going to GameStop. She goes, I am sick and tired of doing nothing on this thing.
Wow.
And she traded it in and got and she came back 40 minutes later with a PS5. And she's been gaming nonstop. Now, I'm just saying this is what's happening. My wife's been gaming on the 360 all the way back from the early days. So you know what I mean. And she was a hardcore all the way through. Xbox One went through that whole generation, got the Series X day one, the whole 9 yards, and she walked it out of the house. And so this is what I'm talking about. And so now you get the Starfield Shattered Space, right? A lot of people are looking forward to it. The trailers look great, but what ended up happening? It's not hitting again. And yes, the people that I do see that are enjoying it, God bless, man. Yeah. Go ahead. Put 200 hours in the game, no problem. Go ahead, enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not for me, but it's clearly not for a lot of people.
And Mag, and that's happening to a lot of people. Like, I've been with Xbox for like 25 years, like from the start, man. Like, and you guys see what's happening on Twitter, I'm fed up with it. I just gotta speak out. Like, it's enough is enough, right? And I've been here time and time again, and it's like enough is enough, man. Like, there's only so much I can take, and a lot of these guys are like new Xbox gamers that have been Xbox gamers for like 3 years, 4 years. You haven't been putting up with this crap for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
They consistently do this, and I think Game Pass is the best value in gaming. I think they have some fantastic games there. I love the service, but they're just not hitting at the same level as Sony, and that's just a fact.
Well, this is what I'm talking about as a consumer. Sorry, go ahead, brother. Who was that?
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick.
Brad, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. To D's point, real quick. He mentioned he's been on the Xbox ecosystem for 25 years. I was an Xbox Live beta tester. For
no
those
way.
Who don't know. Yeah, I was.
Really?
I helped build Xbox Live.
I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I think like D saying like some of these people are like new. I agree with him. Like, some of the stuff people are saying, like, if you were on the original Xbox and you were on Xbox Live and you were a beta tester where you got in like day one when it released to the general public, and you saw all the games they were creating that would take advantage of the Xbox Live of Xbox Live and of the Xbox hardware, the original Xbox hardware with the the built-in hard drive. I mean, that's why we got games like The Elder Scrolls Morrowind. You couldn't play Morrowind on PlayStation 2. Mm-hmm. It would have melted the PlayStation 2. It wasn't even possible. The shadow lighting effects for Splinter Cell, developed specifically for the original Xbox. You had Itagaki-san, Team Ninja, coming out and saying PlayStation 2, that's a joke. It can't create the kind of game that I want to make for Ninja Gaiden. And if you go through the history and you look at all the great games, they gave you reasons to engage on the platform. And if you've been gaming as long as we have, like, it's just like, I think to D's point, like, it happened to me. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, where's that passion that you used to have? Where are those games that were in conversation for Game of the Year that were, that were like the 9s out of 10s? Like, people say those things don't matter. They do matter.
They do.
Those awards, the industry recognition, your peers in the industry championing the games you're making, those things matter.
I think it and Brap, just let me interrupt real quick, because it matters in a different sense. Because like I said, I don't necessarily care what your Metacritic score is on a game. I don't. But where I think the awards and Game of the Years come into play too is in the industry, right? When you sit there in the audience and you're a video game developer, and you sit there and you're on whatever the other team, or you're on another developing team, and you see the Sony first parties going up every couple of years, every 3 years, grabbing either a lot of the nominations or winning the big Game of the Year award at the end. You sit there and you go, I kind of want to work with those guys. I would myself personally, I'm inspired always to work with the most fascinating team, right, in our company, right, Brett? That's something I would aspire to do. So I think it matters in a couple of things. You may say it matters to gamers, and that's fine. I'm not going to say that talking point's wrong. But I think it matters in the industry, because when people say they're going, you see it all the time on Twitter, going to work for Naughty Dog, and it's like they post like 75 pictures of them in front of the Naughty Dog sign, or in front of Sony Santa Monica, or in front of the God of War statue. Like, that's their excitement to be working for like an unbelievably award-winning studio that they know gamers and developers across the industry love and adore. So I think winning does matter in that sense, but also the Metacritic scores may affect a lot of people's consuming purchases as well. So go ahead, Brep. But I think it was a twofold there. I just wanted to kind of explain my point.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't disagree, and I think that people. I mean, this is, if you've been gaming as long as we have, we know that exclusive games, good games, they drive people to platforms. It's why Nintendo's been around for such a long time. It's why Sony's been around for 30 years now. I honestly believe if Microsoft wasn't backing Xbox, the Xbox probably wouldn't be around. I mean, we've seen other Sega, who had been around for a long time. They're no longer making hardware. We've seen Panasonic. I mean, we've seen so many different hardware manufacturers come and go for the last 45 years. I mean, I do believe that if it wasn't Microsoft backing, I don't think Xbox would be here, considering their history where they've kind of declined in terms of hardware sales. I mean, I think that speaks volumes that you pivot your business model, and I don't begrudge them for doing it. At the end of the day, they have fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to make money, and if they're still going to continue focusing and being part of the gaming industry, they had to do that because the hardware just wasn't going to sustain the traditional console business model for them. It just wasn't working. So I completely understand their need to pivot. And again, I don't begrudge them for doing it. It is what it is. They'll probably be successul at it.
Yeah, and now,
but the thing is, sorry, brother.
No, go ahead.
Sneak this in to actually answer the question you asked. Is that when people are Microsoft is trying to figure out why people are gravitating towards the PlayStation instead of Xbox? It's pretty obvious. It's also it's the exposure as well. Never mind the history or the pedigree. When you've got that exposure, and look at what's about to happen for the next 2 years. D, actually, I think you said it on another show, or just the other day I was listening and or reading it. I can't remember which one. And saying, can you imagine what's going to happen? The next 2 years, every game reviewed is going to be reviewed for the PS5 Pro because they're going to want, right? Like you're going to see it, every single article. It's going to say, fill in the blank, whatever game, fill in the blank, reviewed on the PS5 Pro.
So on the
PS. There's no competition.
Meg, I hate to interrupt you, but this is kind of late breaking news, right? It just came out at 5:58, 6 o'clock tonight. I think you guys saw this. Rod Ferguson says, I've been getting this question quite a bit recently, and I'm happy to say that Diablo 4 and Vessel of Hatred will indeed be PS5 Pro enhanced. Very proud of our hard-working team to make this happen. More details to come at a later date. So there's just to kind of bonify what you're saying, Mag.
Let me just say this real quick, and then I'll let you go, Mag. Just to touch on what you said there. The next 2 years, you're going to be seeing comparisons on the PlayStation 5 Pro, the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5. They're all going to look and run better on the PlayStation 5 Pro. That is not going to be good mind share for gamers on Xbox. I told them, I said, you should have requested Microsoft do something similar instead of, or at least admit that this is going to make a difference. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be the same thing. There's not a big difference. Xbox games like Indiana Jones, we just heard Diablo, they're going to look and run better on the competition's console over your own console. That's not a good look.
No. So D, let me ask you this. If you're a developer now and you want your game to look the best, play the best, and be shown in the best light so that your studio can make money, where are you going to focus it on?
On PlayStation.
You're going
market leader.
Yeah. You're going to focus it on the console, specifically console, that is going to show your product in the best light, because that is only going to help your sales. When someone is sitting down watching a commercial on TV, they're watching the NFL or whatever the hell they're doing, and they go, wow, what is that?
What?
Right? And then they see the marketing PlayStation and people, you know what I mean? So people will look at that and they'll say, wow, this is showing my product in the best light. I'm going to put it over there. There's no mystery. I don't understand how they are completely tone deaf that they don't realize that is what the issue. They have to ask the question. Why are they going there? I don't understand. I saw the article, Mooch. It's madness.
Yeah.
Listen, if GTA is not delayed, and I'm hearing that it's not delayed, they haven't made any announcements to delay it. That was a fake story. And they pretty much said if they were to delay it, they wouldn't make the decision till late next year. So that's nonsense. But besides a delay of the game, GTA is going to be marketed on the PlayStation. And you better believe your ass is going to be marketed heavy on the PlayStation 5 Pro, because that's going to be a good way for Sony to move a lot of units. And that's going to be a good way for Rockstar to show their game in the best light, because that game's not coming out on PC day and date. That's going to hurt Xbox. That's a lot of gamers. I don't care what they say. I'm going to skip the game. When that game is announced for the PlayStation 5 Pro and you see a version of it running on the PlayStation 5 Pro, you're gonna want that version over the regular version, especially Grand Theft Auto. That game is a generational game, and that game's probably gonna last for like the next 10 years. All the iterations of it that they're gonna make. So it matters, man. I don't know, man. It's just honest to tell you, like my head just hurts. I just don't understand how we got to this point, and I just don't understand how the fan base is just ignorant about it. It's like if you care about something and you want to save something and you know it's not working, you got to change things and just, accepting the I forget the word I'm looking for right now, but just accepting, the way things are, it's not going to change things. And Xbox is going to continue to suffer. Like they're getting outsold 3-1. They're getting outsold 4-1 in some regions.
Yeah.
And like Xbox guys are like, this is fine. There's nothing wrong. All the games are bangers. Everything is good. No, everything is not good because they're not selling nearly at the rate that they should be selling at.
That's right. They really.
And then you got Shattered Space, another black eye.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? One more black eye. Like how many more hits can you take? If Indie doesn't hit, if Indie is mid, you might as well just pack it in.
Well, here's the thing,
game
though.
that I'm
But
look forward to
Meg,
next year is Doom.
Meg, I hate to say it, but Meg, honestly, Indie does it. It's irrelevant. And the only reason I say that is not for the state of Xbox, the publisher, in that sense, but Indie's already been announced for PS5. So even if it hits, unbelievable. It's already the consumer base knows that they already have a PS5. Why would they go? Oh, you know what? Geez, Indie's hitting. Oh, I'm going to go spend $500 this Christmas, and I'm going to pick up a Series X. No, they're not.
You know what? The only thing, Doom. I'm playing Doom on the Pro, and I'm going to be. And if Indie's good, I'm going to be playing it on the Pro. I'm not going to waste my time in December playing it on Xbox. I'll wait, and I'll wait to play the better experience. I'm not going to play it twice. Okay, I'm going to play it once, and I'd rather play it on the better hardware. I got a new monitor coming with my Pro, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I look forward to it. But
the only thing Xbox has going for it this season, I will say, I don't know if I think it is a. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is the marketing rights for Call of Duty Black Ops. I guess they're getting around it by not doing it on Activision's account and doing it on their own Xbox Game Pass, because I guess they can do that. And I really do believe that Call of Duty is going to boost Game Pass numbers. So they're going to have a W there. I think Game Pass is going to grow from Call of Duty, but it can't just be Call of Duty. It has to be a constant stream of games that are of high caliber in order to grow that service. So they're going to get a bump, but then what are they going to do after that? If Indiana Jones is mid, they're going to lose that momentum.
It's funny, D, you say that, and I kind of want to hear what Eric Jackson. Eric, I want to go to you on this. D kind of set a volleyball up there. I think we've said for the past 3 or 4 weeks on the show now, E, that I also expect a bump up in Game Pass subscriptions. So you're going to see that. I don't think it's going to be as big as Microsoft wants it to be honest with you. Maybe the Twitter wars will catch fire for a few weeks with it, but it's not anything I think that's going to be massive, because if you're a PS5 owner and you happen to be a Call of Duty gamer, or that's one of the 3 games you buy a year, you're not going to go, oh, wait a minute, for $20 a month, I can actually play this over on Xbox, so I'll put $20 a month out of pocket, plus I'll go spend $500. No, you're just going to buy the game at $70. Or wait 5 weeks, and I guarantee you Black Ops 6 will be somewhere around $49.99 on a holiday special somewhere. So, E, what do you think at the end of the day here? What when you hear Microsoft say, why are the devs choosing PS5? One of the main reasons has to be Game Pass, right? Because if me and you are a dev team, E, I don't know if I want to make a game for a console where I know that people are waiting for my game to get on Game Pass. They may not elect to go pay the $70.
Well, I'll say this too, man. This kind of goes back to what you guys were saying earlier. I'll touch this point, then I'll answer what you just asked me, Mooch. But the other part of it is that defeatist attitude of there's no passion around the Xbox. We'll just call it a platform, because Microsoft doesn't define anymore what Xbox is. They think Xbox is an umbrella of everything, right? So that doesn't speak again to a culture of what gamers want. You're a jack of all trades and a master of none. Mm-hmm. Down to the point where you're promoting a Fire Stick and saying you don't even need a console. Oh, yeah. Okay. So what am I as an Xbox gamer? What am I?
Yeah, what am I?
PC gamer? Right. Am I a Fire Stick gamer? Am I a console? You're not a console gamer because
you're an app gamer.
They haven't been talking to the console gamer forever. Mooch, we've been on CrossFire for years saying the second-class citizen thing, but all of a sudden people got a clue after the what was it, the podcast?
The podcast,
the the business event podcast where they basically told, oh, it's only going to be this many. We were saying for years.
Yeah.
They have not been paying attention to consoles.
Not
so now it's like,
well,
what is the Xbox platform? So as a developer, I'm like, what the hell is the Xbox? What does it mean? Right? So we've also been saying on here forever. I said this to you. If you have a platform like Game Pass and you have a storefront, and you've heard devs over the years say it is very difficult to get placement and eyes on a storefront. You have a small window, unless you're a big AAA developer and you have the budget and you have everything else. If you're like an indie dev, AA dev, or whatever, you have a small window to get eyes on your game and get people downloading it, playing it, picking it up, whatever the case may be, and then it's gone.
That's right.
Unless it hits the zeitgeist and people are talking about it, then you might get a little bit more of a bump. So can you imagine, like, you're already fighting for and jockeying for position on the PlayStation Network, the eShop, whatever the case may be, the Xbox storefront. But guess what? You're not getting any placement because now you have to compete with Microsoft's Game Pass.
Yeah.
That they want to push.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
And you didn't get a bag. You didn't get a Game Pass bag. You tried, but they were like, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, not you.
They actually mentioned that they're pulling back on giving the bag to people. So all that rah-rah, indie devs are saying, hey, our games are selling better because we got the bag and we got more eyes on it. That's slowing down. So it's like, as a dev, I'm like, Mooch and I have a development team. How many are we going to sell over there? What are we going to really do? Because they didn't even talk to us about Game Pass and what we can do there. And now we're not really even getting any visibility on their storefront because we're not in Game Pass. And so, no, I'm going to go over to the platforms where I feel I can get visibility.
That's exactly it.
So that question is very weird. Like, hey guys, what can we do? How about be a game developer and stop being Microsoft? Stop being, treating this as if you treat all your other services.
Are you talking?
That's all we heard from the fanboys forever. That's all we heard. Well, it's all about the services too. Well, where's that getting you right now?
Well, it's funny. Shout out to Ricardo117. Ricardo, I appreciate you being here, buddy. Ricardo's been with me for a long time listening to this show, and he's an Xbox fan. He says, Mooch, I'm getting Call of Duty, Indiana Jones, Stalker 2. Ricardo, you're talking about what's coming up in the next few months, and that's fine. But Ricardo, I happen to know that you've been paying for Game Pass for years, and all the way until what's going to be October 25th, okay? You've been paying for Game Pass, and the big slogan, right, the push, is first-party AAA blockbuster exclusives from Xbox first party coming to your console. You didn't get that except for Hellblade 2, which was, again, I think, honestly, received pretty mediocre. And I don't think it did very well, and it didn't really hold attention. I thought it was a very unique premise, the first one, and the second one was literally, it seemed like a copy-paste. So I don't necessarily know, Ricardo. You can still go ahead and say that you're okay with it, but you've been paying, let's say that you've been paying since 2022, all right, even if your dollar deal ended or such. You've been paying, $14.99, $16.99, now $19.99 a month, and you're excited about you threw Call of Duty in that list? I mean, you've been buying Call of Duty your entire life if you're a Call of Duty fan. So you got Call of Duty, Indiana Jones, okay. And then Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is a smaller game release. You know what I mean? How big do you guys think Stalker 2 will be? Is Stalker 2 going to be a full $69.99 price on it?
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
I think the game's going to do good too.
I do. I think I'm actually looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be on a smaller scale game. I didn't think it was going to be a full $70 release. I thought maybe it was going to be $60. I'm not sure, but I didn't look into that. But I'm just saying, for someone like Ricardo that goes, well, Mooch, look at these games are coming. That's you've been paying this entire time and not getting anything the rest of 2024, unless you want to count Hellblade 2. What'd you get in 2022? Eric just told you. Mag just told you. Nothing. You got Pentiment.
That's why it's actually easier to just buy piecemeal.
That's
literally, like, for example, next year, I don't want to bring it up again, but let's just say on a grand scale, the only game that really hits next year is going to be Doom and possibly Fable. I'll just buy them because it's infinitely cheaper for me to buy $140 worth of games, even if I buy them day one. Or you wait 1 month, I can get a 15-20% discount anyhow, and I could just buy it, and that will save me $150.
Yeah. So
what the hell for? I'm buying Call of Duty. Why? I'm not getting it on Game Pass.
So it's showing here.
Mag, what do we also say too? Time is a commodity, and when you're playing something like Call of Duty, you're putting time in it, right?
Yes.
So even if you're subscribing or you're buying like the year or 2 year, whatever the case may be, if you're not hitting a certain amount of games in the service in a month, you're not getting your money's worth.
You're not getting the money's worth. So at the end of the
day,
and
games are not consumed. Right. games are not consumed the same way you do music. You can listen to 100 different tracks on Spotify. You got your money's worth right there.
That's right.
Right.
You can watch 100 different things on Netflix.
So
you can watch, however many movies in a week. And you've kind of got your money's worth. Games don't work the same.
So I just
Matt, you're right. So if you buy it outright, you're probably hour to hour, dollar to dollar, going to get your money's worth just buying it out.
I said it straight on XNC. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to say this while the topic is still there, because D, I just looked it up. Stalker 2 right now on GameStop showing $59.99. You can pre-order.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
So it's not a $69.
For you and I, that's what $69. It'll be
So in Canada, yes. But I'm just trying to say to you guys, like, listen, when you see the game, I'm very much D. So listen, I'll be playing Stalker 2 the day it comes out. I'm very much looking forward to it. But what I meant by it's just not going to be that full-fledged, big, huge game. I think it's going to be a bit of a smaller title. And that's fine, by the way. That's fine. It is what it is. I can't wait to play it. I'll be playing it day one. You heard it here first. I'll say it again when it comes out. I'm looking very much forward to playing that game. But go ahead, Meg. I took the mic from you. I apologize.
No. All I was going to say something quick is just that, at the end of the day, do you think Microsoft gives a shit where I'm spending my money? Where they're still getting my money, right? So if I decide, let's just say for argument's sake, I decide to buy those games, not argument's sake, I will be buying those games on the PS5 Pro because I'm going to be getting the better experience. I do not play on PC. So that will be my PC, okay? Air quotes on that. So when I go buy that, Microsoft's still getting their 30% from me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or sorry, 70%. They're getting the 70% publisher's fee because they own They have the publishing rights for Doom. They have the publishing rights for Call of Duty. So if I decide to buy all those games on PlayStation, you think they care? No. So I think at that point, what ends up happening is from a business level, nobody cares because everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting a piece of the pie. I think what's happening is it's about pride issues in the community where people are like, oh, you're buying it over there. Yeah. You're fill in the blank, right? Of whatever insult they want to throw at me that day or whatever, right?
Ponybot!
Yeah, you're right. Ponybot, whatever they want to say. And I'm on one of the top 5 Xbox podcasts on the planet. And the funny part is I really the new dynamic with Colt and I is the yin and yang. We're the direct opposites, but it actually works. Right?
It does work.
And
yes.
Because I'm no longer into that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I took the red pill. The point is Microsoft doesn't care. They're making their money. So if you're that interested in their sales and their money and their this and their that and how many billions they're making, well, then shouldn't you be happy that I'm buying it over there because they're getting a 70% publisher cut?
Yeah, Microsoft doesn't care at all. I mean, so I do
exactly. So what's the difference?
Let me Detzinger, you wrote me a quick message. Detzinger, I want to let you get in here. You said you had a couple of rebuttals to some of the things that were said. Singer, what do you think? Did I lose Singer? Because Singer had to bounce in and out of Singer. There he is.
Well, I think PC. No.
Oh, that was pretty.
It was something for a conversation we had a while ago.
Oh,
a while back.
Okay, if it doesn't hold, I apologize, Singer. I thought you had something in the grand scheme of this.
No.
But Singer, okay, then let me ask you this. Okay, I'll kind of go to. I had this kind of one question broken up into like 27 parts for those of you that's all back to school. Great movie. I recommend you guys go check it out. Nonetheless, when there was Insider.
Good reference, Pooch. Good reference.
Thank you, E. I appreciate that.
I picked up on it. I got it.
Only us old folks get that. Shout out to Eric Jackson right there. That's real quick. So the Insider, I don't remember who it was. It might have been the gentleman from Bloomberg. Saying Xbox is in a state of a mess right now. And one of the things, Crap will tell you this too. I've been saying this, I think, since 2017, 2018, back on MNC, and we've been saying it on Crossfire, I've always said Xbox, I think, needs new leadership. And I never pointed to one name. A lot of people like to point to one. I point to several. I think you need new leadership. So, Detzinger, what do you think when you hear this? And this is coming from a big time reporter in the gaming world saying that Xbox is a mess inside. That just goes to show what we've been saying, Singer, these past, 4 or 5 weeks we've been hanging out. Like, it's really been a matter of that's where I don't have a lot of faith in Avowed, and it's not about Obsidian. It's about Microsoft and Xbox management that I just don't think they have that quality control. I don't think they have control of any of their teams. This is what happens when you kind of spiral out and be as big as they are. It's not easy. Everyone's like, well, you just open up the checkbook. Well, I think Crap said it a couple times ago, too. Anyone can write a check. But can you actually, right? But can everybody balance 13,000 employees per big pickup? So, Detzinger, what do you think when you hear that?
I mean, I honestly don't care because Obsidian's going to do Obsidian things. They don't need oversight because they've operated without oversight for the last 20 years.
Okay.
They're indie. They are their own bosses. All the games they've released.
But didn't Bethesda do the same thing, Singer?
No. Bethesda was its own thing, but Bethesda always had, they had the Skyrims and the Oblivion and Morrowind, right? They had the cache because they had all these big games. Obsidian, you could say they had Knights of the Old Republic 2, which put them on the map because that was a good game. And it was a good follow-up to BioWare. Mm-hmm. But then they kind of just did their own things, little projects here and there. Yeah. They developed a good fan base, but it's more like a cult indie fan base. Then they had like Pillars of Eternity series, which really put them on the map. But that was still on the dang low, because not many people actually played them, and all the games were crowdfunded. They've never had a budget in their life. The only budget, like the Outer Worlds, was like 5 million, right? Mm-hmm. They have to do what they gotta do. So if the leadership at Xbox isn't doing anything with them, they'll just operate as they always have. Insulated. They'll just go, okay, we'll just do what we do. Because they've had to do what they do for so long that that's just what they do now. So that's why when people look at it and go, well, they have the Microsoft's back in now, so the game should look this big AAA thing, and it's like, I think Obsidian is just still like, well, this is what we do. It's been so ingrained into them. And that's why I think Avowed will do well, because the people who know Obsidian, like, they don't need a breakout hit. Everyone knows who Obsidian is, right? Obsidian's a known entity in the gaming industry. Because as much as people didn't buy and play the Pillars games, they rated really well on Metacritic. They got a lot of rewards, a lot of love. Mm-hmm. And if you think of RPG studios, Obsidian, they show up people. Like, they've had the battles with the Bethesda. They made a better Fallout than Bethesda ever could. That's just a fact. So it's when I think of the pantheon of RPG developers, Obsidian's up there because they have to be. BioWare used to be, but they fell off a cliff. Bethesda used to be, but they fell off a cliff. Mm-hmm. Because the Bethesda I grew up with, so Elder Scrolls 1, Elder Scrolls 2, then you had 3 with Morrowind, and then Oblivion, then Skyrim. After Skyrim, you see the change. Look at Fallout 3, look at New Vegas.
Okay.
Then look at Fallout 4. They're starting to stray off the path. Yeah. It's not as RPG as Fallout 3.
Yep. That's right.
Then you look at Starfield. Again, they're stepping away from what they used to be.
Yes.
And I think Bethesda is just on the wrong path right now. And In Exile is another pickup that I'm glad Xbox picked up, because they do the same thing as Obsidian, right? They're top tier, but they've had to survive on their own. They've never had a publisher, right? They've never had this safe umbrella. So I think these teams will just do what they do because they've had to survive. Because if their games don't hit, they close down.
You know what's funny? So I'll be honest with you, Death Singer. I think you gave outstanding examples, and NXL is still yet to be seen. But Crap, I'll go to you here because Singer made some good points. But Crap, the one thing we've been saying since I've known you is, you know who never missed was Forza Motorsport developers, Turn 10. Turn 10, we used to say, never misses. We used to say it all the time.
They come out with one of those games every other year, too.
And you can count on that being like an 8.5 or a 9 or a 9.2. Like, I mean, again, not that the score matters, but like they just put out a quality. And since this generation, since the tail end of last generation, Crap, that's another didn't miss, can't miss situation that missed.
Big time.
Missed big time.
I was shocked. Sorry, Crap. I was shocked. That Forza.
That was shocking.
Unbelievable. Go ahead, Crap.
And I'm a fan. I had installed the game. So, I mean, Mooch, that tells you everything you need to know. Like, I'm a fan of the games, right? I own every single Forza Motorsport game. The Horizon games obviously overtook them a while ago, but, you know, the Motorsport games are still cool if you like closed circuit racing and, you know, that kind of stuff. And you think, okay, they put out such good games every other year, and then in 6 years, they put out a game that was kind of garbage,
right,
and had a lot of issues. So it was like, you know, that was disappointing, you know, and it's like you don't really know what to make of it. It's like I have high hopes for some of the stuff that Microsoft is doing. I think like Fable.
Yeah.
I just hope like for me, I have little things. Like I hope Fable lets you pick which character you want to be. They seem to pick heavily with the one girl or whatever, but Fable always lets you pick your character. Like I don't see why in this day and age why we don't have character creators.
I think they will
on almost every game. Yeah, you know, but it's like they do so far to push it with this one way. I would just hope that they do it the other way as well, because Fable has always been about choices, and I think if they take the choice away, that would be kind of lame. But I have high hopes for the game, and actually Clockwork Revolution is another game.
Yeah, that one
I have high hopes for.
That looks good. I thought that looked very good.
Yeah, because I got to be honest, like I don't like, and you know this, Mooch, because I've complained about this. I don't like the top-down view isometric games, right? And that's what when they picked up In Exile, I was like, who cares? They're a PC developer, right? All the stuff they've done is like that top-down crap. I couldn't care less about it, right?
Right.
But then when you see Clockwork Revolution, now that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like that to me was like, hey, they've got this great, looking idea, and it really kind of I like the steampunk type thing. You know, it sort of reminded me a little bit of Fable 3, which was like a steampunk type of game, believe it or not. And a lot of those images and stuff kind of were similar. People were saying it was like BioShock, but if you go back and look at Fable 3, a lot of that was very similar to that as well. But yeah, so they've got some cool stuff that I'm looking forward to. It's just you have to wonder, is this stuff going to stay on Xbox? Is not like that's a really shitty thing to put your fans in that kind of position, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And as far as like Xbox in terms of like what they have, like I don't know, like some of they need that big hit, that big new thing that's going to really just get people talking. Maybe they have it, but I think I just don't know yet. It's like there's no real reason if you don't have an Xbox to go, well, let me get one, because honestly, like Doom, that's going to PlayStation. Indie, that's going to PlayStation. Who knows what the hell else, right?
Yeah.
So I mean. It's
funny because shout out to Treybone. I don't think he understands. He's so thinking just like pro one console. It's just interesting. He says buy COD, don't buy a Game Pass for COD. He goes, so pay Xbox more by buying the game. That's like gonna cripple Xbox. LOL. Make it make sense. I like how you use like different like cool things from Twitter in one little
hey Mooch.
But like the thing about it though is Treybone. Let me explain something to you. No one here, as a matter of fact, before we were talking before the show, everybody wants Xbox to excel. We want Xbox to compete. Like we want them to. My point is, what we're saying here, Treybone, when you're not listening to, it's not about that. We don't mind. When I buy a game that's made by EA, I'm not upset that I'm buying it because I'm giving EA money. Right? I don't care. The point of the matter is the games that we're mentioning right now, which is like games like Indiana Jones, games like Doom that Mag just said he's looking forward to next year. Those games are already announced for PlayStation 5. We're just talking about the console itself. Crap is excited for Fable. But at my point, right now, where I'm sitting right now, here we are, October 3rd, 2024. Okay, right now I would tell Crap, I'd say, Crap, I'll be honest with you, I would say at some point, maybe not day and date, but at some point Fable will probably come to PS5 as well. And that's not because I heard that. It's not that. It's just if Doom's going to be there, Indiana Jones is going to be there. They put Sea of Thieves on there. Like, why wouldn't they eventually bring Fable there at that point? It's not about, oh my God, we're giving Microsoft, the publisher, 70%. The point of the matter is what the question is why would you buy an Xbox moving forward if you don't currently own one? Or if you have an Xbox right now, why are you not owning a PS5? Right? For those games are going to get their first party exclusives. And then seemingly the Xbox games are also coming to PlayStation at some point in time. Treybone, that's what we're saying. There's
even rumors of like the new Gears game, which look like it's going to be good.
Yeah, I don't care that it's like Xbox gets 70% of it. What do we care as consumers? Crap, you care if 2/3 goes? It doesn't matter.
We'll have to see on the Gears.
Anyway, here's the thing: if you're a fan of Xbox, like you're a fan of Xbox as a console. Right, you can try to spin it and wrangle it however you want, but Xbox is a console, and so if you're like, "Who cares? They're making money," it's like, well, that's not caring about the Xbox end, because Xbox obviously needs to sell. That's why they're asking these developers, "Why are you skipping Xbox?" Like, no shit. You know why we were skipping Xbox? Because you guys don't give a shit about Xbox. You say repeatedly you don't care if it sells. You put your stuff on PlayStation, right? Like, of course we're not going to prioritize Xbox. This isn't rocket science.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
also your Series S, we have to have a parity with the Series X, and then we have to release at the same time. That gives us a lot more work because the Series S has less memory. So we're like, we have to cut features. What do we got to do? And then we end up not releasing it on your platform, and then because of the certification, and now we just wasted a bunch of time doing that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of reasons. The PlayStation 5 is a lot easier to develop for than the Xbox Series X, which freaking blows my mind. I've always given Sony crap for their software, and traditionally, like, they've been a lot harder to program for if you go through their history. And with the PlayStation 5, they made it as simple as it could be, and it's even better than the Xbox to develop for. Like, it's actually easier. And Microsoft is PC, is Windows, is like the operating system that these games are made on, and the PlayStation 5 is easier to develop for. There's a lot of reasons, man, behind it.
Yeah, no, D, while you're saying that, we'll kind of just switch over here. Well, I'll read these super chats I have here. Shout out to the super chats. I appreciate you guys all being here. Shout out to Mash as well for the 10 gifted subs. I appreciate that, Mash. Shout out to Mash listening to the show while he works. Moonshot says, crazy how all the Xbox channels, fanboys have sources of Ghost 2 delay this week when they didn't even know it existed last week. So I don't think that, I mean, that's fine if someone wants to make a prediction. I don't necessarily know if that's going to be true. They just advertised 2025, like you say.
If that game wasn't that close to coming out, they wouldn't even have brought it out.
Well, the reason I say the reason I kind of agree with you on that statement right there is Sony hasn't said anything for so long. So if they're finally going to say something, they better darn well be accurate, right? They haven't had a showcase in forever. So I agree with you.
It's a bunch of cope. It's a bunch of cope. Now, like, I don't understand. Like, if you want to go after the game, then go after how it didn't really push the boundaries in graphics and what you would expect. That would be a valid thing. These guys just make up like anything instead of like going to the source and saying, "Yo, Xbox, what's up? What the hell are you doing?" Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, shout out to Satya Holsley Nadella here. Great to have him in the chat here. He says, and I'm reading this exactly how you read it, but I don't know what MC scored 408 Xbox games. SFS is ranked 402. If anybody can solve that with their Ovaltine,
I think the Pixel thing. I think it's like 57. The Final Fantasy Pixel. I think 57 on the best-selling list on Xbox.
Well, that's what I would have thought it was Final Fantasy, but he's got SF.
Oh, I
don't know. But Satya, I appreciate that. Thank you for this. And the great Lord Metroid. I talk to Lord Metroid all the time. He says, I recommend Echoes of Wisdom. Excellent game. It does look absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the reason I say that is because it goes back to that traditional Zelda game, a lot like how the great crap gamer Eric Jackson, D-Batch, and the Mag have all kind of played games back in the day. So that game really does seem to resonate. Lord Metroid, if you have an extra copy, you know how to find me. Nonetheless, D, let's just switch kind of topics here a bit. We kind of went in on the Starfield Game Pass thing because that was a lot in the news. And people go, why do you talk about it? Well, again, that big insider from Bloomberg, he had mentioned it on a podcast. And then Starfield Shattered Space came out. That didn't do well. Shout out to a lot of the people that really loved that and gave it a great rating for when it came out. They were really impressed with the DLC. What was I going to say here? Sheffield Sphere says, Mooch, at this trajectory, everybody might as well buy a saddle. Ponies unite, even the PC folks. Shout out to Sheffield Sphere. I appreciate the super chat, buddy. But you know what, D, we had you on with the PS5 Pro talk, and we're going to get into some of that talk in a minute. But I want to talk about the Asus, I always say it wrong, I kind of named it myself, ROG Ally X, costing $900. First of all, before we get into the price and everybody goes, wow, that's a lot, which it is, D, what are you getting in the X that the original one didn't give you, and does it justify that price tag?
I don't think it justifies the price tag. I think you're getting basically better battery life. You're getting faster RAM, and I think that's pretty much it, man. Faster RAM, better battery life, and a bigger SSD. I think it's terrible.
So
I think that's what you're getting, and it's black.
And it's funny, D, I saw people saying this, and D, you might have been one of the ones, so I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but D, people are like, that $900 makes the PS5 Pro look like a bargain.
Yeah, I did say that, and I see some people complaining about the price of the PlayStation, the ROG Ally X, But it's not the same outrage that we're getting for the PlayStation 5 Pro. And when you look at the PlayStation 5 Pro, it is substantially more powerful than the ROG Ally. The tech that is inside of it alone is worth more than the ROG Ally X. Yet, here we are at the price of it, right? And I think if you just look across the board, even if you look at PC, the prices are like, they're kind of higher. I think we're just kind of in that area that we're in. Like, this is just the world that we live in now. This is just the way things are. And, you know, it's costing more to fabricate these things. You know, the prices aren't coming down on the wafers. You know, I think it kind of is what it is. And I'm going to stand by it. I think the PlayStation 5 Pro is a fantastic price for what it's offering. And unfortunately, you know, the detractors, they're going to have to get it beaten to their heads when they lose a lot of these face-offs for at least the next 6 months before they start to come to. But the ROG Ally X, I don't think it's worth it. I think you're better off getting the regular version of the ROG Ally. You can buy these little adapters. I bought it for like, I don't know, $10 off of AliExpress, where you can install SSD in there, like a traditional, you know, NVMe SSD. So you can put in like, I put a 2 terabyte in mine. So you can put a 2 terabyte in it, which will cost you a lot less than upgrading to that device. Yeah, the better battery life is good, sure, but not for the price that you're paying for it. And that's how it is. Like when you're running rampant on the market, you know, and like they're like pretty much the number one PC handheld right now. Like these other guys are coming out with like Lenovo and these other companies and these Chinese brands, but none of them are having any type of penetration in the market like the ROG Ally is, right? They're even starting, you know, to, I don't know if they've surpassed the Steam, but I think they have more. I think they have more mind share than the Steam Deck, because I got rid of my Steam Deck for the ROG Ally, and I never looked back. I never missed my Steam Deck. So I think I think if you want good hardware, you're gonna have to pay for it, and I think that's what they're charging for the handheld. I think the market dictates that price, I guess.
Well,
but I think it's overpriced. Yes.
Well, you know, it's funny because Ranting Greek Gamer, who was on the show last week, shout out to RGG. You know, he's not agreeing with you. He says, D-Bax, you are comparing a handheld console PC that can do a million things more than a console with a PS5 Pro that is limited on doing one thing only. Not fair. I don't think that's
what are you doing? Are you you're using your ROG Ally as a PC, you're hooking up a mouse to it, and you're putting it on your monitor, and you're crunching some numbers. You're doing
Excel spreadsheets.
You're doing Excel. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, RGG. I'm not following you on that. I know that I understand that what it's capable of doing. I bought the original ROG Ally. I ended up returning it because I'll be honest with you, I preferred the Steam Deck, and that's because the Steam Deck is pick up and play. It was just a lot easier for someone like me. I did not want to fuss with all the updates and this and that and blah, 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 and the interfaces. And if you just go and watch all these ways to download Windows on here, then you can get your Game Pass and blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm just going to play Steam. I have my Steam collection. I'll play my Steam Deck, and I love the original Steam Deck for what it is. But when people say that, don't get me wrong, RGG. I know there's people that do videos and discuss it all the time. What you're saying isn't wrong. Can you do those things with the ROG Ally? Absolutely. Do you really, though? Do you really?
They're not.
You know, you're not doing your taxes on it.
Come on.
You know, I mean, so I think D's point is valid. And, you know, people were upset between $600 and $700, right? When we were guessing the price of the Pro, but now it's okay to go from 7 to 9. And D, if I may ask, what is the ROG Ally X? What are the specs? What are they putting out? What can you expect to play one of today's decent AAA games on that when you're looking at it? Is it coming through on 1080p? Is it 1440p? Is it 4K?
Yeah, no, it's a capable system. So
what's it playing?
I won't dog it on its capabilities. It can play all the current games.
No, I know it can, but what does it play them at?
It plays them at, I'm pretty sure, either 1080p or 1440p. Depends if you're using DLSS.
Yeah.
I mean, not DLSS, FSR. Mm-hmm. So it depends. But I think the majority of them are at like 1080p. But some games you can scale them to 1440p.
Okay, and I mean that's fine. Again, there's no knocking it at all. By the way, if you want to go get that ROG X, that's totally fine. But again, I'm just saying I do agree with you, D, on the whole argument for $700. And now the $900.
Yeah, but to preface what I said, though, actually, you know, don't think of it as a 1440p machine. It's more a 1080p machine. Okay, so
that's what I thought. That's why I brought up the resolution. But, you could probably reach 1440p on, you know, smaller titles. But it's a 1080p machine, and it's quite good. And you use FSR in it. It's pretty good. And it's a smaller screen, so you can even
games that you want a higher frame rate, you can dip them down to 720p. And on that smaller screen, it's still nice and crisp. So it's a very capable machine. But when you have the base model that does pretty much everything the bigger one does, minus a few different things, that's not really game changing. I don't think it's necessary. But I will say this: you're not forced to get that ROG Ally X. They still offering the regular ROG Ally that is going to play all of those games, and it's just like the PlayStation 5 Pro. Sony's not forcing you to get this. They're not saying this is the next generation. There's going to be like a 6-month window and we're going to stop supporting the PlayStation 5, so you need to jump on board with this. Then I can understand console gamers being a little bit upset because, hey, the generation just started and then now you want us to spend all this money on a more expensive console. Then I can understand it, but it's optional. So you know what? If you don't like it, don't buy it. But the problem is they do like it, but they can't afford it because, they're not used to that price point. And then they come with all these cope responses that, it's just going to be a little bit better. It's just playing PS4 games enhanced and all the nonsense that they come up with. And I have to tell you, I'm keeping so many receipts because when those comparisons come out, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a bloodbath.
That's the funny thing. Like, people kept going into all these different reasons, like why you shouldn't, grab a PS5 Pro or do whatever. And they were coming from this place that felt really like disingenuous, where it was like all of a sudden your PS5 was obsolete. Sony's removing it from the standard PS5 from the market. The Pro is what it is, and started treating it as if it was the next generation starting.
Ridiculous.
They're like, none of that is true.
Yeah.
None of that is true. And then you shouldn't be doing this because you're setting a precedent. I'm like, precedents are set every day, and guess what? Nothing that happens now is necessarily going to be what it is in the future. It could be 100 different reasons because costs of everything is going up. And I was going to throw this to you guys just to see what you say. No one in the world, I don't care how much money you have in your bank account, no one in the world is like, I always opt to spend the most money I can all the time.
No, of course not.
No one does. No one thinks that way. No matter how much dough you have, how much or little dough you have, no one wants to spend more for anything. But I never understand why, in the realm of gaming versus other hobbies, because I know people who are in all kinds of hobbies that aren't in gaming. I know dudes who fish and will spend $1,500 on one fishing rod.
They want the best.
To me, that's crazy. I'm like, I don't get it because I don't fish, right?
Yeah.
But Eric, they can tell me 100 different reasons why this rod is worth $1,500, right? But for some reason, I don't understand. In the realm of gaming, it's never supposed to move and shit. And I'm not making excuses for companies. I'm just saying there's a reality to everything.
Well,
right?
That's why. Sorry, I was going to say something real quick. By the way, I got to go, Mooch. Duty's literally calling. But I was going to say this real quick. Do you know why they keep doing this 3-day early, 4-day early, 5-day early access on all these big AAA games? They keep doing that because the actual price of the game should be somewhere around $90 to $100. And the reason why they keep doing that is because they know that they can get that, even if they get that 1 million that'll buy it early, then they've got that, you know what I mean? Then they've covered that sales percentage that they require in order to actually cover the costs. As human beings are being paid more money. The production costs are costing more money. Rent is costing more. Utilities are costing more to keep the lights on in the studios, whatever else, right?
Right.
But people think we should still be paying $60. Again, I agree with you, Eric. I'm not condoning it, but at the same time, you have to understand that also when it comes to bigger and better costs money. If you're going to buy a Toyota Corolla, don't think it's going to drive like a BMW M5. You know what I mean? Right. You've got to pay the M5 price if you want an M5, or if you want a Tesla Model 3 Performance. You're not going to get that. Okay, you're not going to get that with a Honda Civic. Great car, by the way, but still, it ain't going to be that. So it all is the same thing. But you're 100% right in that tech world. It is amazing how not tech world, excuse me, in the gaming world specifically, they won't do it. They won't pay it. But they very gladly pay $2,500 for a brand new phone, not realizing that they're actually paying that every single month. I'm not paying that. It's deducted. I'm like, yes, you are. Because D, you're probably around the same as me. Probably pay about $100 a month for a cell phone, maybe $110. So whether you're with Rogers or Bell, but at the end of the day, $60 of those dollars are going to pay the phone.
Right.
I opted out of that model, and I just outright buy my phone so I can keep my nice little $50 plan. like forget that, man. I want to say this.
I can't change it, but that's because of my corporate. But I gotta go. You take over, dude.
Hey, you know what? Mag, we didn't even get to the great Assassin's Creed topic. Damn it!
I know, but it's late. I have to. No, I really do have to go. Work has called me like twice, but I do have something to quickly say. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If you're on in about 15 minutes or so, I will come back. But because I got to
jump back in here. We're gonna talk. I won't bring that topic up till you get back.
All right, I'll be back.
All right, sounds great.
I'll say this too. Another thing that I find really peculiar and annoying at the same time is the selective outrage. So we're going to be outraged for the PlayStation 5 Pro, and then not so much on the ROG Ally X, and not so much on the Xbox Series X that's offering 1 terabyte more. That costs $600, which is just $100 less than the PlayStation 5 Pro that has a whack of new technology and better hardware in it. Make it make sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually brought that up too, like on the timeline. I was kind of like, no one's talking about the fact that maybe it's because no one's paying attention to it or really looking for it. I don't know which one it is. I know they're
not selling. I'll tell you that much. It's not selling.
Yeah, but I remember when it was announced, that there were people that were like, day one, for the Star Spangled 2 terabyte Series X, right? Day one, I'm copping that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
do what you got to do. But I don't understand. $100 more for something that is actually giving you a little bit more, giving you some more performance, for so to speak. And it's like, why? Why is one okay here, but the other one isn't? And again, it's not removing anything from the market. You can still get everything else that's available. But I don't understand the difference. You're right. So it's very much cherry-picked rage or narratives or whatever you want to call it.
It's funny too because the one thing that we talk about, we always talk about like a market, a saturated market, or how something is selling. We talked about it with the PSVR 2. We talked about it with the PS Portal. But and I only posed the question to D, but Eric or Crap, if you guys want to chime in, I think I know how you guys feel because I know the way you guys game. But D, the other thing is that is the handheld market. Is it yes, it's exceeding for Switch, right? Because that's just Nintendo said this is how you're going to play our console. This is how you're going to play. But like the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally.
I've been saying that for a while, because everybody's like, man, handhelds, the wave of the future. They're gonna compete with Steam, and I'm like, they sold 3 million Steam Decks in like 3 years or whatever it is. It's not a lot. The ROG Ally sold 500,000 units. That's not a lot. The only handheld that has excelled is the Switch.
ROG Ally has more than 500,000.
You can look it up. 500,000. I mean, even if it's at 1 million, that's not a lot. I mean, like for companies like Microsoft to be like, hey, we want to be in this. It's like there's not really a big chunk of the pie there to catch. I mean, you look at how Nintendo's doing it. They have great exclusive games, and they have hardware that's not super expensive.
Right.
Like, I mean, and probably Switch 2 will probably be right there between that $300 and $400 mark. So it's like they have that pedigree there. It's like, I don't really, to me, when I look at people talk about the success of these handhelds, I'm like, man, to me, 3-5 million, even if the Steam Deck sold 10 million, that's not a lot. Think about this: the PSP sold 80 million units. The PS fucking P. Over 80 million units.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a crazy lot amount. That's a lot. You look at stuff we look at the Vita as a failure, right? That sold 14 million and was a failure.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I mean, there's maybe about a million out there.
Told you. That's why people don't care. That's why it seems like there's a double standard. It's not so much a double standard, it's just people don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
they don't care. It's like there's not a huge market for these handheld power like PCs. Like the PC market, as far as I can tell, would rather build their own stuff and play it at whatever at their home. Like the stuff that they can play. It's like for me, you get the Nintendo stuff that you want to play Mario Kart. You want to do this. It's like almost every night, my son and I and my wife, we play Mario Kart together. We each use one of those little, not even a full Switch controller. We use you take apart the thing, Mooch, and you're holding the little, like that's how we play. It's hard because I got big hands, but it's like
how the hell are you using that? Like that's
I don't use because my wife, right? She likes to use the motion control to the driving, right? I don't like that. I like using just the buttons or whatever. But it's like that's like inventive stuff. I like using the Switch because it's cool or whatever. And they've got they've got games. It's like, to me, the performance isn't as necessary because it is a handheld or whatever, but that's why it's so good. Like, I don't understand the people that are trying to hype this Xbox handheld. I think it could have a place, but I don't think it's going to do any better than the Series S or anything per se.
No,
you know what I mean? Because for me, and you're a little bit different than me, Mooch, but it's like there's not really many places I can go where I'm gaming on the run.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if I'm going somewhere, I'm usually driving.
Yeah, you're not in a big city crap. So if you're leaving your house and you don't have mesh, you're done, right? I mean, that's what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. That's why, for me, like, cloud gaming is, I've tried it once or twice, even with Starlink, which most of the time I'll have 150 gig down or whatever. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but to someone like me who was running 8 gigs down or 16 gigs down for the past, like, 10, 12 years, it's a lot, right?
Yep.
So... and I tried it, just as pixelated, it's unresponsive, and that was at the height of when I had the best internet that I could. So I just could never see, like, that is never going to be for me, ever. You know what I mean? Mooch, like, I got my collection.
I enjoy the PlayStation Portal, but it's not for what you guys think. It's legitimately, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, this is the first year in almost a decade the Mets have made the postseason that actually mattered. And
what's this Grimace thing? Why is Grimace playing for the Mets? I don't know.
Made it. Look, it was just a promotional night. A little sports for you guys. Don't leave the show. Stay tuned, folks. I'm letting you know why Grimace is a part of the Mets logo right now. So they did a promotional night, like any other night, right? Crap, it doesn't matter. Like, come see the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, whatever. Come see the Mets, and Grimace will be there. They had Grimace throw out a pitch during a time where the Mets were like, they went on like an 0-for-7. Like, it was over. The season was over. It's the middle of the year, right? They went, Grimace pitched the first pitch, and then they won, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 games in a row. It wasn't quite that high, but it was a good amount of games. And they're like, well, Grimace is good luck. And they just stuck with it. and that's it. Now, Grimace is an honorary Met. I don't know how that happened, but that's is. Crazy. Yeah, so that's how Grimace... I sent this picture out the other day on Twitter, and the first response I get back from Crap in front of thousands of people on Twitter is, when did Grimace become a Met?
Yeah, because I seen him on the little thing. I'm like, is that
He's
Grimace?
There. It is him. Yeah, it's legitimately Grimace.
My Baltimore teams can't get past Kansas City teams. It is what it is, I guess. You know?
Those Kansas City teams, I'll tell you. I hear you. Exactly. There you go, Crime. I love it. No, but what I was going to say to you was, I use my Portal because I legitimately, especially during the NFL season, I really like it. I just game, even like Vampire Survivors. Doesn't matter. It could be something. Astrobot, you guys are seeing on screen. Now, I didn't do this level on the Portal. That's for damn sure. This thing was a doozy. But all I'm saying to you is that, like, that's something I like for portable use. So I don't really use it as much. That's why I said to D, I'm like, I don't know if the market's really out there as much as we talk about it on Twitter. We're like, oh my God, the new ROG Ally X is out. Like people are gonna drop what they're doing.
Holy shit, Mooch! Did you get the new ROG Ally?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Where did Dan?
I get it, man.
Did Dan leave the vacation to go to the store? He did.
Whoa!
Man. So it's not like that's happening. We kind of give these impressions on, in the community and things like that, but it's not really that kind of a wave. And they said that the Portal did better than expected, did better than critics were saying, but that thing didn't sell 15 million either,
Yeah.
So I think the latest they
said
was
it's funny, because I can agree with what you're saying, because sometimes people, like, maybe you're around your family, they're all watching something on the TV, and you want to kick back in that same room and play something on the Portal or whatever you can. Yeah. It's like, I'll do that sometimes too. Like, I'll play my Switch. Like, I was playing KOTOR. They had a sale for it or whatever. And I like that game a lot. So, I'll be playing that while maybe something else is on the TV or whatever.
Yeah.
So I get that aspect of it for sure.
That's
you know what
the
I mean?
point.
But people trying to pay $1,000 for that. That's crazy.
Well, that's the other thing too, right? And I said this, Crap. I think you were on the show. I said when it was coming out, I said, listen, the Portal, I understand you want native play. I get that. I really, really do. And I'm not going to talk down because native play always beats streaming. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But for $199 price tag, especially when we're seeing what's going on right now, you got a $900 device there. The other ones are all $400, $500, $600. This was $199. So, especially if you're playing a single player game, I'm not playing Warzone on the PlayStation Portal. I wouldn't even tell you that. I would never even recommend it to you. But I thought that $199, that's a nice little, think about it. Underneath the tree, you just throw something down there, little, come on. Pair of sneakers is $150. What do you want? You're buying a couple of, I said this last week, couple pizzas and 20 wings. God forbid you get a Meat Lovers or a Supreme. It's $75. So for $199, you can game wherever you are in the house, maybe the backyard if you got some decent reach on your quality Wi-Fi. I don't know. But I thought that was a reasonable ask when it was first. Now people go, oh, yeah, Mooch, of course it is. But when it first came out, people were like, this thing's going to bomb. It didn't bomb. I don't think, again, it didn't sell, like hotcakes, but it did all right. So as we kind of wait, we're going to wait for Meg before we get into the Assassin's Creed stuff, guys. But I do want to ask you guys this question real quick here. As I'll go to you, Crap, because in all honesty, I think that when it comes down to it, this is something that I would love to see Halo come back. And I know you're not going to be a fan of this, but just hear me out. There was an article that came out, and I know it's nothing maybe new news, but Halo's Battle Royale being canceled. The more you peel the onion back, the more this thing stinks, right? So I thought Halo Battle Royale would be really cool. First of all, that world.
Yeah, we said that years ago. Yeah, though, right. Like we were like, hey, canceled. It makes sense. You drop them in like the ODST characters or whatever. Yes. You get, you start out with a pistol or whatever, and it made sense to do it.
I thought so.
Yeah, and I thought it would be cool. It was one that I definitely would try. Right. So it's like, it doesn't make sense to me that they didn't do that, because when you look at things, and I guess the reason for canceling it was Battle Royale games ran their course or whatever. I don't know if that's true. If you look at the top played games, it's always Fortnite, it's always Warzone, it's always Apex Legends, right? Like everybody's playing a Battle Royale. So I don't understand. Even PUBG is still in the top played games, right? That's a janky ass game.
It really is. God, those.
Listen, Mooch. Like I remember. Do you remember years ago, man? We were all like hyping that game, and we played it, and we had fun with it. But just it's still janky to this day. It plays like shit.
It is. I actually went on to Twitch and I said, my God, PUBG still. And let me tell you something, guys. PUBG, crap, it's still got life. There's people on Twitch. Don't get me wrong. So some of the numbers from like a Warzone, and I understand this isn't a good census, guys, so you don't have to run with this. But like midday. When a lot of people are watching Twitch, I'll see 45 to 65,000 people watching like Warzone. PUBG's holding anywhere from a solid you guys may say this is a drop, but it's not. Anywhere from like high teens to like 35,000 people watching PUBG. PUBG still has an audience out there and still people playing it. So
yeah, it's a top 5 game in Steam right now, and it's probably in the top. I would say probably top 30 on Xbox as well.
I'm not going to
Player and Ungrown Battlegrounds. It's right up there next to Destiny 2, Madden 24, Forza Horizon 5. So it is actually 5, 10, 15, 20, 22nd. It's number 22 out of the top 50.
I think that's not bad at all. I mean,
that's real. I mean, it's at a Starfield.
Well,
and the show,
and
Farm and Elden Ring,
so so a lot of things are, But no, I do agree. I mean, D, I don't know how much I know. You talk about the games that you play, and I see some of the games that you'll stream. D, I don't know if you're necessarily a battle royale, lunatic like I am, but I love that.
I like battle royale, and even though battle royale style kind of run its course, it still has its place.
Yeah,
and I think a game like Halo doing it could rejuvenate it a little bit, because I think it'd be hella fun in Halo with all of the vehicles and
the race
and the warthogs and are you kidding me, man? And all the different modes that you could have where you can't use your pistols, you can only use swords or whatever, man. I think that's a missed opportunity. Now, Halo was one of those games that it came out. I thought that the single player experience was good. I wish the graphics were better and I wish there was less issues. But, that aside, the game itself and the gameplay, I was satisfied with it. I thought it was a good Halo game. But then the multiplayer was just like awful. And I kind of lost interest. Now I've heard like over the months, like I heard that it's gotten a lot better now, but that damage was done initially where I just kind of lost interest and I kind of moved on to other multiplayer games. And I think the state that Halo is in now, I think like just dropping a battle royal mode for the holidays, adding that onto Halo, I think that would do wonders for the Xbox because I think it would bring people back to Halo. And I think it would satisfy the base to give them something. I just think it's a good idea. That would just be really freaking cool. Halo having a battle royal mode.
So I'll piggyback off that. So first of all, D, I completely agree with you. I'd like to see the speed brought up a bit in Halo. I understand that you're going to say that the Halo diehards are going to say, Mooch, you can't speed it up. But when you play games like Call of Duty, okay, whether it be the multiplayer or Warzone, or you play Apex, or you play even Fortnite, it doesn't matter. Whatever you like in that genre, even if you're playing Rainbow Six Siege. Halo just feels very slow these days. They have to progress that speed. So to do that and add that into the worlds, and like you say, the weapons and the Warthog, and to be able to travel and have a team of 4 or play solos, and to be able to do that in Battle Royale, that I'm right behind. Now, here's where I'm going to piggyback this thought and then add a level of question to it. We know 343 is big enough to handle a job as big, because don't forget, when you're doing a Battle Royale, you have to have quite a team working on that nonstop 24/7. So they have the people, they have the manpower there. The question, D, is that Microsoft, when they cancel it, is that Microsoft showing very little faith in? Is it 343 that they're concerned can't do it?
I don't even know, man. 343, they dropped the ball. Kind of, they're hovering in place because Halo was all right, wasn't terrible, wasn't great, it was pretty good. I really don't know what's going on over there, to be honest with you. Like, all the reports are saying that Xbox is a mess behind the scenes. Like, what are you doing? Why would you, if this is true, why would you cancel a battle royal mode in freaking Halo? That's just insanity to me. That you would do that.
I don't know. I really don't. And I mean, now, do we hear rumors that is Halo still going to be a 343 product, or are they going to hand that off to somebody like, id or I don't know. There was a bunch of things that people were saying. I don't know if that's,
I think they still have it. I think they're bringing it into Unreal, and then we're just going to see what happens there.
All right. Well, I don't know. We are certainly going to find out. I'll tell you that much. The great Mag had I don't know, he dipped there. Hopefully he comes back. I'm not sure if he can. When work calls. He said he had some breaking news on some Assassin's Creed stuff, which is why I put it there. But I'll bring up this topic here as we kind of go into it. Assassin's Creed Shadows had only 7% the pre-order numbers of Valhalla. And my question to you guys is it something that's wrong with Shadows? Is it an Ubisoft problem? Is this an internal Ubisoft problem? Like this game looked like it was ready to launch.
Yeah, and it looked really good too. Now I don't know. The latest report that I heard today is that now they're introducing a co-op mode. So it's perhaps they delayed it for the co-op mode, and I think that would actually boost the game.
Okay,
actual good co-op mode in there. If I'm not mistaken, wouldn't that be a first for Assassin's Creed?
Yeah. Wait, to have co-op mode?
Yeah.
No, I thought Liberty had co-op.
Oh, Liberty had co-op? Okay.
Crap, you remember that? Crap, you were really following the AC world back then.
Yeah, you know what? I don't remember if it had co-op, but I liked Assassin's Creed. But the problem with Assassin's Creed is those games are so bloated now. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like The Witcher 3 in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like they just are. You can start them and they're okay, but then they're just and to me the new game just just looked like all the other ones. Not great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like they used to tie together and they were really cool or whatever, and now it's just like they're kind of just like whatever at this particular point.
Remember the first few games where you woke up in that lab and then you had that life out there? And
you were Desmond and stuff, and then they killed that guy off, and like they ended that story arc, and now it's like not as much having to do with that stuff. So it's just like just these games that kind of take place and when they take place or whatever. So it's not. So it's like I really love the Ezio trilogy. That was badass, and my favorite was probably 4 Black Flag. Right, it was great.
How did those games age? Crap.
Black Flag is great because it's still really good, and they're remaking that game as well.
Oh,
so the next time I get a Assassin's Creed game, it'll probably be Black Flag because that was just they were doing something new. Remember, like that game was so awesome that's how they decided to come out with that ship game.
Yeah,
and then that ship by the time they came out, by the time they came out with it, people were like, "Oh yeah." You know what I mean? Like, they didn't.
I've been burnt out from like 4 after Black Flag. That was it.
Listen, I tried. I bought them. I even got the one that launched with the Xbox Series X.
So did I.
Valhalla.
Yeah.
But that game felt like it was going to take me 500 hours to get through. And I was like, nah, not going to do that. You know,
sorry, I'll just say this real quick. This Assassin's Creed, though, it got me excited to get back in. And not just because it has a Black Samurai. Yeah, sure, that's part of it. But just like the gameplay itself just seemed like they were reinventing something here. Like the weapons, it just looked a lot better and a lot different than the Assassin's Creed that I'm used to. And I was like, okay, this is refreshing. So I'm like surprised that the pre-orders were so low for it. And I'm a little surprised that they delayed it too, man. Like I don't know what's going on at Ubisoft. Also, too, before the stream today, I saw somebody over there at Ubisoft. I think it's Rainbow Six, one of the directors or something. He just left the company. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Ubisoft.
The vice president of Rainbow Six, Cameron Lee, has left Ubisoft.
Yeah. Well, it's because they probably paid a lot of money for that Star Wars license, right? To get that Star Wars game. Yeah. And then a game that, I'll be honest, they made the character look like dressed like Han Solo.
Like, come on.
Just make a fucking Han Solo game.
No, not even that. Not even that. Like, just I don't understand why they just didn't use the actress's real model. Like, what the frig did you have to make her freaking fugly for? Like I don't know, make her look cool. Like I like the game. I don't think the game is a bad game. So like, I think it's getting a little.
I heard the game
unnatural hate.
I heard the game wasn't.
No. Hey, listen, Pete, you're 100% right. And I'll say this: when I brought that up, and people were like, "Oh, you just want to jerk off to a good-looking character," I'm like, listen, look at that Jedi Survivor game, right? They modeled the character right after the actor. It looks just like him. He's going to play the character in live-action Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like, why the hell did they? Whatever, I don't know what. She fell out and hit a bunch of ugly sticks or some shit. It was horrible. Like, absolutely horrible. Not only that, it's like, when you look at some of the gameplay, because I'm a Star Wars fan, but it's like, I have no interest in this game. When you look at the gameplay, she, like, punches a stormtrooper in the back of the head to knock him out. Like, how the hell is that going to knock them out? Yeah. You know what I mean? Or, like, the bullets weren't registering, or it's like, auto-fail stealth missions. They put in a bunch of crap that just
that auto-fail stuff sucks.
Yeah, it's just that's not fun for people, and it's like they don't understand it, and they're like, oh well, they spent all this money on getting the license for Star Wars, and then this game sold like 1 million units across everything, which isn't good.
I just think when I saw the gameplay though, it looked like it took like 2 steps backwards. I mean,
it was rough. It was rough.
It did. That's why when D said he was enjoying it, D, by the way, I'm not going to take that away from you at all if you enjoyed the game. But like, you look at what Jedi Survivor did.
And it's not close in gameplay. Like, no. I enjoy it because it's Star Wars, and I kind of like the gritty Han Solo nature of the gameplay. But I'll be honest, man. There's like parts you just go and you can just punch everybody out. You know, like the cover system kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's not the greatest game. I just don't think it's like a 5. I think it's like a solid 7. I think it's a good game. It could be a lot better, but yeah, the combat is lacking a bit, as well as some of the shooting mechanics. I think the story saves it a bit, and the visual fidelity, because I'm playing it on PC. So there's stuff there for me, but I get it, and I don't understand a big franchise like this. Like you got to get it right. So I don't understand who play tested this game. Someone should have said, hey, you know what? There's like a bug in the game, like you can just go around and like duck and then just go punch everybody out and kill them.
Hey, people were mentioning this stuff. People were mentioning this stuff, even the characters' looks, many, many months in advance, right? And they were just like, oh, it's just overzealous and trolls and all this stuff. But it wasn't trolls. It's like people are just like, this, like, your game isn't ready. I think that's probably why they delayed Assassin's Creed, because they're like, well, we can't have another situation like this, because they're like, yeah, we're gonna fix it all up and we're gonna fix the autofill missions and all the issues. It's like, your game needs to be there from the start, and it's only just now that these developers and stuff are starting to realize this, right? You have to release a complete game, or otherwise people aren't going to spend their money, because these games are so expensive. It's like, also that game was like, I think what you needed to get it for certain missions, you needed the more expensive version. It was like $100 or something. It's like people are spending $100 for an average mid game, right? It's like this is a big problem. And it's something like Ubisoft is really kind of dropping the ball. It's like, what people want? Like Ubisoft wants to do all these service type of games, right? And people want to see, like the classic stuff come back, and Ubisoft is just kind of like stuck in that way, that mode where unless it's something like it even turned Assassin's Creed into that, like a service-based game that's just so bloated. And, who wants to do dailies and shit in an Assassin's Creed game? It's like people been asking for Splinter Cell for how long, right? It's like, give people a Splinter Cell game, bring back some, do something that people actually want. It's so weird that, we don't get the games that we are actually asking for anymore. And, this is a big problem why I think partly some of the industry is suffering is like people are trying to dictate what they should want or who the audience is instead of actually listening. I saw a thing come across my feed on Twitter that was like, some of these major movie franchises are gonna start holding like these things where they bring in fans and actually get their opinion on things, but to avoid like the big backlashes that are happening now. And that's like, so you bring in the majority of people who you're trying to make shit for, and then let them help craft it. That's a brilliant idea. Right? Not the way that they're doing it now, where they kind of force stuff on you or whatever. It's like, listen, I would have loved to play, like, this game seems like it could have been a Han Solo game, right? They just make it a Han Solo game, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do something, like, people like these characters. It's like my big beef with the new Star Wars movies is I think people wanted to see those original characters go on one last ride together. Then you can pass the torch. Instead, what we got was, Mary Poppins, Leia, Luke being a jokester, like, hey, he's Seinfeld, Mooch. Hey, what's the deal with the lightsabers? I'm gonna throw it behind me. And Han Solo was the only one that had a decent arc, and then even him got he got killed like a bitch. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like at the end of the day, like that's not what like people want, like their heroes, and they don't like their heroes to be fucked with. You know what I mean? Like if you grew up like Mooch, you're like a little bit older than me, so like you don't want to see, like, you probably love Indiana Jones. Try watching that new one, right? They fucking tear apart the heroes. They tear up, like, you like Luke Skywalker, they tear down their heroes, make them look like shit. And then they wonder why people get pissed off. Okay.
Let me tell you, Star Wars was my favorite movie growing up as a kid. Like my favorite franchise, like my favorite trilogy. I was huge Luke Skywalker fan. And like, if you watch the original, that arc was just crazy, right? To see what you're saying now, what they did to him in the Star Wars, it was such a travesty. Like, how do you murder him in the movie? Like, you already murdered Han Solo. How do you murder Luke in the movie?
And he died from straining too hard or something. Like
come on, he was constipated and he murdered. Like,
but and it was the same thing with remember? Like so they build up Anakin being like the most powerful, and the whole reason he turns evil is because he can't save people from dying, and he wants to learn. And it's like too out of reach for him. But apparently Rey can stop people from dying and heal lightsaber wounds and use Force lightning, and she could do all this shit that like the 10 best Jedi could never do. You know what I mean? So it's like they really shit on like the actual fandom, and then they wonder why people turn on it. That's why. It's not that people are being this or that. It's just that they really kind of weren't listening to the fan base. But anyway, Mooch, I gotta get going, man.
I was gonna say, one last point though, that I'm actually gonna wrap up the show. The Mets are losing, and I think it's like the 8th inning or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour myself a very potent bourbon. 162 games all to go down the hatch. Nonetheless, but I do want to say this though, crap. Remember when we were talking? I don't care how much older than we all are, but these Super Nintendo Star Wars game that came out, that was what was it? Was it Super Star Wars? Super Star Wars. That's what I was just saying. Yeah,
they did a few of them. Super
Dude, it was
Star Wars,
awesome
Super
though.
Empire
But you were Luke Skywalker, and you were Han, and you were all these I understand that the Star Wars universe is massive, so you might go, Mooch, let's not limit ourselves to the 7 or 8 main characters that we've all grown up. But why not? Why not? Bring a Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, a Leia, anything. Like, I would love to play some of the traditional characters too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to play Jedi Mooch.
Yeah.
I don't. Lord Sith Mooch. I don't know. Can Can we? I want to get back to some of the original characters, and I don't. Can I go back to my roots for God's sakes?
Yeah, they used to do it so well too,
yeah.
right? Like, and now it's like I don't know what the thought process is, but it's not good. It's like, you know, when we hear they're going to make a new Star Wars game or whatever,
right?
You know, it's like so many people grew up with certain, and you know what, you go back, like I have a good collection of older Star Wars game. Even the episode 3, like PS2 and original Xbox game is really good, and it's got like an alternate ending where Anakin can win. It's like it was a cool game, you know. You get to play as Anakin, you get to play as Obi-Wan. It's like people want to play that stuff, you know. And it's like I don't understand. You know, it's like I mean, that's why I'm hoping that Indiana Jones is good. I'm keeping cautiously optimistic about it. Because, you know, I don't want to see Indiana Jones ruined like he was in the movies, the newer ones.
Crap, I think Indiana Jones, we were talking about it being great. We were talking about it being mid. I think it's going to be good. And the reason I say
Machine Games is good.
Yeah,
is a good developer.
Good. It's going to be good. The thing I wonder, Crap, is do you and D, like we grew up watching Indiana Jones, and D, you guys may both say to me, well, I didn't, but we grew up in the era of Indiana Jones, even if you didn't watch them. So they will resonate. That the humor. I watched them all, right? Especially the early ones. Yeah,
I watched all of them except for the last one.
I did not watch. I did not see the last one.
Do yourself a favor and don't ever.
I didn't.
Watch that one.
I watched.
It's not bad.
I think I watched like a half an hour of the one with what was his name, Shia LaBeouf and him, and I couldn't.
Yeah, that one was bad. That was okay up to a point.
Ugh.
But yeah, it was like not nearly as good as the original one.
No,
you know what I mean?
But like the humor from Harrison Ford, right? That like No Ticket, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like those are the things I think that they're going to try to bring back, and I think that'll resonate with our age group. I don't know if that's going to make people laugh that haven't watched the older Indiana Jones or didn't grow up with it. So I wonder if it'll hit as hard when it comes out. That and I mean that as far as people liking it, and
I mean that could be a problem with Blade as well, right? Because they're having all kinds of problems getting this new Blade movie out.
Yeah,
and people really just were happy to see like the original Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine, right?
Yes,
it's like you know what I'm saying? Like that's just like to me, you know, like that's the one that would resonate most with people, and I think it's like. Would it confuse people because it's been 20 years since the last one?
Yeah.
So so it's like I don't know. It's like you've got to find that. It's like they picked these IP Microsoft did that are a little bit more missed than hit. I think. Yep. Right. It's like, you know, Sony got Wolverine, fucking A. Right. They got Spider-Man. Holy shit. You know what I mean? Like Microsoft I think they needed to pick something that really resonates with people. And you know, maybe they could do that in the future. I don't know, but it's
maybe get like Deadpool. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like here's the thing. There was this really cool Deadpool game.
Yeah, in 360.
That was out on the 360. Yeah. Yep, and they actually remastered it for Xbox One and PS4. Really good game, but the problem is Moon Studios, who did that, they also did the Transformers games, the Dark of the War of Cybertron, and another one on the 360, and those got remastered as well. Excellent Transformers games, excellent Deadpool game, but they lost. They don't have the publishing rights to it anymore, so you can only pick those games up like physically.
Yep,
and they're expensive because of that, right? So if you have any of those games, they're probably pretty costly right now. So I mean, that's the unfortunate thing about digital stuff. It's not always there.
It's not always there.
And, it's not. But it's like, that was a really funny game. It had a lot of humor. One part of the game of that Deadpool game, it turns into like an 8-bit pixelated game or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there's a part right at the beginning where you're slapping Wolverine because he's knocked out, and you just keep slapping him for hours if you wanted to, but you just keep pushing the button to slap him. So yeah, it was funny as hell.
And now imagine how they could push the envelope now. I mean, it would be amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's what I would hope to see. You know?
No, I hear. Well, listen, you know what I'll do, guys? Honestly, I was hoping Mag was going to be able to come back, but I don't think he's going to be able to come back. I'm going to say this. I want to say thanks to everybody here. It is over the 2-hour mark as well. D-Batch, the great crap gamer, you know, who stuck out the whole 2 hours here. Shout out to Mash, by the way, guys. Thank you, Mash, for the.
Yeah, I saw everyone dip it out, man. I was like, shit.
Brap,
should I go?
Yeah, I was like, Brap told me he can only stay an hour. Mag was an hour, so I got more than an hour out of Mag, which was very grateful for that. Singer had.
I gave you no time limit this week, man.
I know, no time limit again, D. Well, D, listen, that's why I spaced these out. I give you a couple weeks off, D. I don't just say, D, come back next week. It'll be no way in hell. But shout out to the great Mash. He gave me 20 gifted subs. Guys, please hit the like button before you guys leave. Hit the subscribe button. Your name comes up in lights. Shout out to Dion Lawrence who just subscribed. Lord Metroid says ROG Ally X ? The Switch 2's coming in hot. 2025. Shout out to Lord Metroid.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate that. Thank you, Mash. Thank you to all you guys. And by the way, I want to say again, thank you to everybody that stayed here through the technical difficulties. That was YouTube. You can see it corrected itself. I didn't do anything. We just kept podcasting. We just kept podcasting. And crap, that's why people were like, start over again. I don't think they realize in order to start over again, you have to do the whole, background thing again, start the whole thing up. It's a whole nother stream. And that's a lot of work. YouTube's not going to want to lose money any night of the week. So I figured they would right the ship. But shout out to everybody here. Appreciate you guys. Lucci Sky, Lord Metroid, Kratos. I see Jerome out there. JC2013. The great. Thank you, Mary Wilcox. I appreciate her as well. Amex, it's funny. We were talking about playing. He goes, I wouldn't mind playing as what did he say? Darth Mooch? I was like, what? So shout out to you guys, man. It means a lot. But let me go in reverse order here. Crap. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy. It really, really means a lot. Let people know where they can find you. And, I'm looking forward to chatting games up with you next week.
Yeah, Crap Gamer Reviews. That's the place.
Go over and check him out, guys. It's _Crap Gamer on X2. Yeah. They need to know where you are because if they're not following you on Twitter, they're missing out.
Follow me on Twitter, D_Batch or DBatch, on YouTube at DBatch. Watch my last video. It's pretty good. It kind of defines what the PlayStation 5 Pro is gonna be, and it's worth the investment. Man, I'm excited. I think Sony and its partners and all these developers that have games coming out for the PlayStation 5 Pro that will be enhanced. I think they need to start showing more stuff, allowing more deep dives, because I know in North America, in Canada, the pre-orders are open. In North America, the only place to get is PS Direct. Yeah. And that's going to end on the 10th of October. The 10th of October, all outlets are going to be open up for pre-orders. Right. So it'd be good to get some momentum and let people know what the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to do and what it's aimed for. Like, definitively, just saying it isn't good enough. You got to really show it and demonstrate. I don't think there's been enough of that going around for people to understand truly what the PlayStation 5 Pro is, because for me, someone that is tech literate and I can look at the technology that's in it, I already see it, and I'm excited for gamers, and they're going to love it. And once they see it in motion, it's going to be game changing. But I feel Sony hasn't done enough to sell that, to show that. So I hope that they improve that.
I totally agree with that. And I've got FOMO. Everybody's like, I got my PS5 Pro secured. And here I am. I'm waiting till October 10th because I'm trading in my consoles. I'm going to get my money. I'm not going to go buy it for $700 from Sony PS Direct when I can get it for $350 at GameStop. It just doesn't make sense to me. But that being said, D, thank you so much. Just a quick shout out to everybody that was here earlier. Shout out to Death Singer. He'll be back next week. Brap, you guys know Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Shout out to the great Eric Jackson. Love it when Eric's on the show, the voice of reason. Mag, you guys already know, middle-aged game guy. And shout out to Gaming Forte at Gaming_Forte. Him and Slow-Mo Backslap right now are doing DPS. Go over and say hello to him and tell him Mooch sent you. Guys, have a great weekend. Catch up with me on PSN or Xbox. You always know where to find me on Twitter. It's at MoochTV, M00CHTV. Drop the O's for zeros. Guys, we'll be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here. Peace out and good night.
Peace.